All right, thank you.
Can everybody stand and join us in the meeting?
That's it, thank you. Now we'll do the pledge of allegiance, the flags and that.
The flags and-
Hold on, start us off.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Next, do you mind introducing yourself nice and loud for everybody? We do have some people that watch on Facebook as well.
I'm Jack, and I won the If I Were Mayor essay, and
Where do you go to school?
I got a Worcester Prep, and I'm in 4th grade,
So you do it over there.
soon to be 5th grader, and I'm here to gavel on the meeting.
There you go.
And my teacher's name is Miss Brunel. I go to Worcester Prep.
Can I say something real quick? All right, so every year, the Maryland Municipal League hosts what's called the If I Were Mayor Essay Contest, and 4th graders around the state participate. We've been fortunate, and Jack won this year, but every year we are fortunate to have a winner from Berlin, which is District 1. And this year, Miss Purnell's class had a winner. We also had I'm looking for Miss Sarah. We had what's the equivalent of a runner-up from some of the other schools here in Worcester County as well. So Buckingham Elementary School being one of them. So here tonight, we're here to hear Jacques' essay, and I think you'll find it very interesting. But what the topic or the theme for this year, every year the theme changes. And the theme for this year was looking 90 years into the future and how things might change, or things that take place in Berlin might look a little bit different. And the essay, I think, covers that. And I hope one day I live long enough to be able to see some of these things in there. Fingers crossed I might. And then with that, they also have to apply a little bit of knowledge about local government. So as part of the project, or the essay contest, I go around to each one of the schools and talk a little bit about the town of Berlin, the work that all the department heads do to help make sure that the town operates smoothly every day, the work of the mayor's office, the work of the council, and how all that works together to be able to make a town that we all call home and that you get to go to school in, right? So home's not Berlin for you, but municipal government does apply no matter where you live. So now I'm going to turn it over, and if you want to read your essay, we'll see if we can prop up your essay somewhere. So, okay, do you want the big version or do you want the paper version? Paper version, all right. Go ahead, kick it off.
If I were mayor, I would make sure all traditions, new and old, will be remembered for a very long time. Traditions are important because they bring the community together by helping give you joy if you are going through tough times. Another reason traditions are important is because they help the community get along. The tradition I value most is the Berlin Christmas Parade. It started in the 1970s and moved from the Lions Club to town management in 2012. It impacts the community by bringing people together. In 90 years, my community and tradition will probably be very different. The floats might float instead of having wheels. Another thing that might be different is that the Christmas parade might be renamed the Berlin Holiday Parade. Also, there might be more floats and people on the parade. The Berlin Holiday Parade will help people become more inclusive by having more religions in the parade. Change and innovation will help my community work together by bringing more people together and having more efficient technology. Innovation will also help my community by making the floats last longer and be bigger. Every tradition is important because they bring the community together and connect people. Traditions are also important because they help you have joy when you are going through tough times. In conclusion, every tradition is important.
job. I really am looking forward to the floating floats and the bigger floats, right? I think Vice President Burrell would like to be the first one on the floating float. So when you think about municipal government and all the things that we have to do, is there anything you would change outside of the technology and helping us get along and work better together in a more efficient way? I don't mean to put you on the spot. No? All right. Well, I think you did a phenomenal job. You mentioned that you get the gavel in the meeting, so hold on, let me get the gavel out because we're going to need that for the, I rarely bang the thing. I call it a crap now, too, by the way. Because, and occasionally Vice President Morrell acts out and I just have to give him a little tap. So, all right, you get the gavel in the meeting. Now, the cool part about this gavel is that it's made from a tree that used to sit on Burley Street. That's a couple hundred years old, so, or was until they cut it down. So go ahead and gavel us in, and then what we'll do is we'll take a picture together. Give her 3. There you go. Good job. There you go. You're welcome to stay for the whole meeting, but it's going to get pretty boring and it can last pretty long. You got long.
Yeah. Actually, come over here.
All right. What we're going to do is I'm going to hide my hand behind this thing. All right? Come on over. Go ahead and hold the other side of this.
Come this way so I can see the agenda.
And then let's get mom and dad in here too. And to my understanding, you got to experience some ice cream in Annapolis as well when you were up in the Governor's sign room.
Oh, yeah.
What's that? Oh, yeah?
I like creamer.
Right, there you go. Can you see it?
Yeah, it's better to do it both ways. Thank you. Thank you. Right, great.
Thank you. Congratulations again. Taking it over. Good to see you all. Thank you again. And are you going to join us during the Brooklyn Christmas Parade to help lead? Yeah. All right. Look forward to it.
Well, leave you in the meeting.
Well, thank you all very much. Have a great rest of your evening. Well, thank you. Have a great rest of your evening. Man, we're going to bake with this sun coming in behind us. Oh, thank you. Oh, we're friends, buddy. And run this thing? I wish. Oh, my actually be done with it. All right, let's see. All right, so the next item on our agenda this evening, I do want to address the elephant in the room. I do have a brace on my right hand. I have 2 young boys at home. I was doing things I should not do on a little scooter contraption, and needless to say, I have a boo-boo. So hopefully we'll be abandoning this at the next meeting. So, all right, with that being said, let's move on to our second item on the agenda, which is Proclamation 2026-08, National Pollinator Week. A proclamation of the Mayor and Council of the Town of Berlin recognizing Pollinator Week, June 2026. The Mayor and Council of the Town of Berlin does hereby proclaim June 22nd through June 28th to be our municipality's observance of National Pollinator Week as an affiliate of the Bee City USA. Whereas pollinator species such as thousands of species of bees, I know we'll get back to it, are essential partners in producing much of the food supply, and whereas pollinator species provide significant environmental benefits that are necessary for maintaining healthy, biodiverse urban and suburban ecosystems, and whereas pollination plays a vital role for the trees and plants of our community, enhancing our quality of life and creating recreational economic development opportunities, and whereas for decades the Town of Berlin has managed town landscapes and public lands that include many municipal parks and greenways, as well as wildlife habitats. And whereas the Town of Berlin provides recommendations to developers and residents regarding landscaping to promote wise conservation stewardship, including the protection of pollinators and maintenance of their habitats and environments. Now therefore, I, Zach Tyndall, Mayor of the Town of Berlin, and the councils do hereby proclaim June 22nd through June 28th, 2026 as our municipality's observance of National Pollinator Week. And with Berlin as an affiliate of Bee City USA, We encourage all residents and citizens to recognize this observance. So thank you all. And thank you to the Economic and Community Development team who runs point on our B-City USA designation. All right, with that being said, let's go back to agenda item 1, which is the consent agenda and the approval of the closed session minutes of 5/26/26, the regular session minutes of 5/26/26. So I have a motion by Councilmember Orris, second by Councilmember Nichols. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, let the record reflect the vote unanimous with Councilmember Murr absent. All right, up next is agenda item 4, and that's a public hearing on ordinance 2026-04, and that's the Town of Berlin's FY27 budget adoption. The budget is a balanced budget. Thank you to all of our department heads that have worked hard, all the staff time that has gone into getting that budget where it needs to be and passed, or well, to where it is now, and balanced. And then also to my colleagues on the council for working through the budget. I do want to go over a few items just so that if anybody missed it at our last meeting, they're up to speed now, and that's the general fund totals. Let's see, Natalie, has that changed, 17.6?
It has not changed from the reports, but as of today, Worcester County has adopted a budget, and we have approved a $55,000 increase. So it is not included in this report because I have sent it and submitted prior to their approval. So this budget will be a zero impact on the budget, but the revenues will go up by $55,000.
And just for everybody's understanding, the recommendation is to take that funding, move it into the capital reserve, because if you all remember, and everybody else that was maybe following along at home, the capital items that we had, especially in Public Works, were reduced. With that being said, those items are not going away, so the recommendation is to move that into capital so that it makes it more achievable for next year.
And then you said that was 55,000
Yes,
even?
That was the increase.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
So, okay, with that being said, prior year carry forward projects and contributions from reserve were about $4 million in the general fund budget. Public Works bond is $2.8 million, MDOT grant is $1.2 million. Total in capital projects is $8,382,478. Some of the major capital projects are the community center, work that's being done in the community center, not the full build out. Public Works facility, town hall renovation, street paving. F-550 dump truck and police vehicles and equipment. Contribution to fire and EMS has gone up, totaling $734,000 to assist with their request for additional operating funds. The electric fund totals $9.1 million, of which contributions from reserve are $762,000. The bond for the AMI meter project with the smart meters, $300,000. Total capital projects in the electric fund are $1,108,000. Major capital projects include cooling tower updates and changes, transformers, utility poles, digger dare truck, AMI meters, which are the smart meters we just talked about, and undergrounding electric services. The water fund totals $7.3 million, of which an MDE grant constitutes $4 million, and contributions from reserve are $1.9 million. Total capital projects are $5,819,430. Major capital projects include a new water well number 4, lead service line replacement, valves and hydrant replacements, and water rate update study. Sewer fund totals $7.2 million, of which MDE grant is $1.2 million. Contributions from reserves is $2.1 million. Total capital projects are $3,275,500. Major capital projects for the sewer fund include the Flower Street Lift Station, West Street Lift Station, Bottle Branch Road, stormwater main lining, wastewater treatment plant LED light, grant fund lighting improvements, which were grant funded, and a wood chipper. The stormwater fund totals $2.6 million, of which a DNR grant and other grants equal $2.1 million. A CDBG grant equals $160,000. Total capital projects are $2,300,000, $379,150. Some of those major improvements include additions to the the watershed management plan, climate resilience plan, Westminster and Abbey and Upshur upgrades, Hudson Branch stream restoration, the west side offline, that's supposed to say street, right? Now, in the stormwater, anyway, it says west side offline wetland design permit, that's supposed to say West Street. Yep, and then Hudson Branch restoration. All right, so that's an overview of the FY27 budget. Any questions by the council before we open up public comment? I know there might be some discussion, but any questions for the public before we go?
I wanted to just ask, double checking, I know we had some emails yesterday or earlier today, and I was reading this before coming here. This budget that we are looking to adopt today, is this less the radios, the emergency?
They're in the, I'll let Natalie answer that.
The description is still remaining,
But it's not.
but it's only on general fund. So if the motion for approval today that we will see later will be approved, then I will just remove the description and 10,500 will remain in contingency as a total.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but, I mean, it does, I hear you on the 10,000, but tell me about unusual.
Well, can we get into that with the motion? The difference is that you'll see the total that was in the budget was $3,500 per unit.
Right.
That part's not changed. The only difference is that when we were quoted that number by the emergency services folks, it didn't include the battery and the charger. So that's why there's a slight increase. And you'll see that it's greater than the 10,000 because, as Natalie mentioned, it's pulling the ones from water and electric and putting them all into one.
Okay,
Into
so,
one invoice instead of into 3 separate categories in the budget.
so can I put this out there?
Yep.
I don't want to include the radios at all. I don't want to.
They're not in the budget.
Okay, I just wanna put that in the atmosphere before we move on to the next part. I just wanted to, before I forget it, I'm telling you what April, and I don't want that to get lost, or I know that's a topic for discussion.
Yep.
But I don't want that, I wanted to make sure definitely it wasn't in 27. And I know that the line item, I know that it shows here, but
It'll move to
but
contingency.
later, right, and later it shows, I think the, what is it, 26, whatever the number is, later in the, exactly.
Item F.
Later in the agenda, but I wanted to make sure that I had that stated early enough so that when we get to it, it's still fresh in the memories.
Thank you. Anything else before we open up public comment? Okay. Let's open up, actually not public comment, we're gonna open up the public hearing on the FY27 budget. So anyone that would like to address the mayor and council regarding ordinance 2026-04, the FY27 budget, may do so at this time. Anyone? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing on ordinance 2026-04, FY27 budget adoption, and we'll open it up to any comment or motion by the council.
Okay, so good afternoon, evening, everybody. I just wanted to throw out, earlier today I emailed the group and Natalie, and thank you for printing it out here for the council. Some materials that reflect ideas and observations that we've compiled over the course of this budget season. And first I want to start off by saying that you know, when I sit up here and I offer suggestions and ideas, it's not intended as a criticism of any individual or any group. It's a spirit of teamwork and collaboration to a common goal. So what this is here in front of the group up here, it's in your packets. These are some suggestions. These are just what I've looked at, and from our discussions here in open meetings and things that were previously cut or previously decreased in the earlier draft from April. So basically 3 months are some ideas. The discussion we just had was helpful, but I did have one question I wanted, well, it doesn't really matter. So if the EP radios are out of the FY27 budget. The 10,500 that's in there as a descriptor would still stay in as unused funds, correct?
So that's
Is that correct?
so
10,500, it is right now in contingency, it's not assigned to any capital projects. It's just was earmarked previously by a description for radios. That description will be removed if
Okay.
decided upon. The 10,500 will remain in contingency, will have no impact on fiscal 27 budget production.
Alright, so hold on one second. So the reason that what's that? So the reason that item was moved to contingency is because through the budget work sessions, we had no contingency. And as part of our group discussion, we agreed to move it to contingency and then exercise that purchase at the end of FY27. The challenge becomes, when I checked with emergency services, that the cost that we were quoted expires in December. They run calendar year on their locking in the quotes. So I asked Natalie what the best way to overcome that would be, and she said that there is enough funding in the FY26 budget to be able to accommodate that purchase now and still give us the funding that we would like to have in contingency for FY27. So that's why it is the way that it is for this evening.
Thank you. And that's actually a great segue into one of the big things that we've been hearing, and I personally have taken to heart and heeded, was the fact that with our aging town, we should have more of a contingency in at least the general fund. And so that's what a lot of these, I say suggestions, I don't know what the right word is, but that's a lot of these ideas, if you will, they go to. So we have things like unassigning some funds that are, I guess, all in a reserve. I know they aren't, blocked out individually, they're labeled, but it's all from, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ellie, but it's all from reserves, essentially. So there's some unassignings, there's some reallocations. There is a reallocation of the $55,000 from the commissioners, which, shout out to the commissioners, thank you for that additional funding. And what I would like to do, the goal here is, it's to explore the stretching taxpayer dollar more effectively and while building a solid contingency. And then I'll stop talking after this. A few months ago, when we had the audit folks here, some of you may recall, I did ask what the theory is. Is it better to have more in unassigned or more in assigned? And it was a question of really, as I understood their answer, was theorem of the group and how we want to do it. And I would submit for discussion that with, how do I say this, with the status of the economy, tariffs, whatnot, global conflict, and local just things that happen, things that break, it may be better, I submit, to have things on hand in a contingency in order to pay for that. And actually in our minutes here, just as a little side note that we just approved, last meeting, Mayor discussed about grant matches, and that's, if it all comes to fruition, I understand it might not be exact, but that's 169,000-ish in grant matches that we would have to match. So just some things like that to think out. I think that, like I said, this isn't a personal affront to anyone or a suggested dissatisfaction. It's just thinking a little bit more towards contingency leaning. So you have in front of you, the council has, and Natalie, I hope she has a copy, I assume she does, of the things that I emailed this morning. I can make them as motions after we have some discussion, I believe, but I'd like to get a feel from the group and Natalie on what, and Mary, on what some of these suggestions are and how they impact us. Yeah.
My first question is, what is the recommendation of the auditors as it relates to a contingency? How much should we have?
So the thing is, when you think about unassigned and assigned fund balances, right? Our assigned fund balance is what we try to keep at the GFOA recommended threshold, which is 3 months of operating, or 20% of your operating budget. So those are the two metrics that they provide. Our fund balance exceeds that. However, we have other risks that we believe kind of raise our risk profile, and that's predominantly being close to the coast with hurricanes and things of that nature, right? So we believe that it should be a little higher on the assigned fund balance side of things. The unassigned fund balance is typically what we use as like the first layer of cushion, right? So in the event that we had a downturn in the economy or some disaster occur, that's where we're gonna go first for the funds. Then we're gonna go to the assigned funds, and then we're gonna start being in a little bit of a pickle. Now, Councilmember Orris, if I understand your document correctly, it looks like it's pulling the $100,000 to cover these things from the healthcare fund balance. And what I would say with that is that fund balance has been built up, or reserve has been built up, because it's not uncommon to see a high renewal rate. And in the event that that happens, rather than going straight to the taxpayer and saying, hey, look, we need X amount more in the tax increase, it gives the mayor and council another lever to be able to pull to help even that large increase out. So Natalie, do you have anything you want to add?
I just want to bring a little correction to the discussion. We're talking about apples and oranges here. The contingency is a balancing mechanism between what we project to receive in revenue for the future year, which is upcoming, minus the expenses that we're predicting to have, including the capital expenditures. So the projected revenue is $10. The expenses is $5. The $5 will remain in contingency, hoping that we will receive the $10 that we're promised to receive. That's the contingency on the budget. We don't balance that with anything else, because God forbid we will not receive real estate tax rate as a promise, because the assessed values were decreased or appealed, or for any circumstances reduced. So the contingency come into play to cover that shortfall. On the other hand, if we have a quote for a specific equipment that's been promised for us to receive at $100,000, and all of a sudden because the market value went out, and now we need $110,000 to purchase the same equipment that we already committed ourselves as a town of Berlin with a purchase order, the $10,000 will come from the contingency to cover this expense. That is a balancing mechanism for budget. Unassigned balance that we're discussing right now, committed and assigned, is the end result after we conduct the full entire year and we see whether we are in the green or in the red. If we are, God forbid, in the red, then we can look into the assigned balances to bring that to balance, because general fund have to close to be balanced. So the idea of transferring assigned balance to contingency has nothing to do with creating a budget balance.
And then the other side of that is too, like, we have enterprise funds, but if they close in the red, they come to the general fund for the full, because at the end of the day, there always has to be money available. So the general fund serves as almost like a parent, and the enterprise funds as the children. Now, with that being said, to Natalie's point, where are we going with this?
The unassigned balance.
Contingency versus unassigned.
The unassigned balance was where I was headed. I don't know, gone just like that. It's okay, it'll come back.
Well, if I can just address the 100,000 that you mentioned from the health insurance fund. Yes, I mean, I agree that we've built them up and they're good to have, but the graphs that we've been shown ending in fiscal years 24 and 25, the health insurance fund, quote, has $363,000 in it. So while I absolutely agree that we need these, I don't want to say buckets, but we need these funds in case of dire scenarios, I guess what I'm trying to get at is it might be a better idea to have that on hand, if you will. I mean, it was obviously unassigned at one point, and we put it there. So that's where I'm just throwing it out to the group.
But the other side is, like, be cognizant that $300,000, the does not go very far when you have almost 80 employees with health insurance. Kelsey, what are our annual costs for health insurance? They're pretty drastic. In total, how much do we pay for health insurance across all funds?
Sorry, I have to pull.
Just ballpark, yeah.
I really don't know how to give you a ballpark without looking at it, sorry.
It's in excess of
Yeah.
300,000, I can assure you.
I agree with that, but I think it's important for everybody to
The point
understand.
is to, Mr. Orr's transfer from health insurance to contingency of the general fund. It does not serve a purpose, because if we come to a decision that we have to do something in case of emergency, we will come and look to assign balances, and we will look at capital reserve and disaster recovery and other assigned balances at that moment. But transferring healthcare to contingency, thinking that we might need $100,000 for this particular budget right in the moment where we have already $34,000 in contingency, I don't see the reason for that.
And the net healthcare cost is 1.15 million, and then the 400,000 for the HRA.
So just two general questions, and then I will be quiet. Maybe. At the end of every fiscal year, if there's money in contingency, that goes into reserves.
Yeah.
Just call it reserves, wherever it just goes into reserves. Correct?
No, it goes into unassigned. However, the challenge is, that's where I wanted to go. Because it was brought to our attention before that the town has this much noted on its annual audit in unassigned fund balance. When you see carry forward on this thing, it's because a project was not completed that was already budgeted, and that has led to a higher fund balance in the unassigned, and then your draw for these carry forwards come from that. So it's been noted that it's a really high unassigned fund balance, but it's because these capital projects have been deferred for some reason.
Or they just were completed
Correct.
by the end of
There you
the
go. Perfect. Good idea.
All right. I will throw it to the group for discussion on everything else.
Can we go back to healthcare for just a
Sure.
second? Because that's why I asked for the number. So if it's 1.15 million, right, it's not uncommon, and that's why we review this ICRA each time, because what it's doing is in preparation of a double-digit renewal.
Yeah.
Right. So when you start looking at that on a $1.15 million total line item, that's easily in excess of $100,000. So when you have those types of things, the fund balance might be $300,000 plus, but it's designed to allow the mayor and council to figure out, okay, is this a one-off year, or is this going to be something that we're going to see year over year moving forward? And if so, how do we mitigate that cost so that we don't shift it all to the taxpayer? And that's what those things are designed to do, is to provide levers to be able to help us figure out, one, if it's a long-term thing, or if it's a short-term thing, and then two, how we're gonna handle that moving forward.
We also have health claims reimbursement that we have decreased significantly over the past 2 years. We brought the percentage because our health performance ratings are really good. I hope they will remain good, and we will bring it down to a third year of the less percentage to be budgeted. But if we look into another pandemic and people start visiting doctors' offices at a higher rate, that reserve for healthcare will probably come in play to cover the health claims.
And sometimes medication costs, like if something is new, if it's new and approved, we've had folks on our health insurance before that have utilized medication that has cost a lot of money. And that can also lead to a higher usage on the HRA than what we typically budget or see in historical trends. So we have to be very, very careful about how we manage that.
And not to beat this topic, but if an individual on our plan doesn't have our health insurance and say they leave, and we hire someone new, that person could come in with a family plan, which is gonna cost us about $22,000 annually, so, you know, those things come up too during the year, so.
Right? Hear from the rest of the group?
All right, so there were a couple things in the budget that, while we were trying to get down to the same tax rate, that were removed. that I would like to see back in. I was eyeing the 55,000 from the commissioners. I sat in on those budget sessions. I don't believe that the intent of those was to put those into a capital account. I believe those were intended to be used as operating, frankly. But a couple things that I would like to see. Well, one thing is the fireworks. We sliced that because of how tight things were. And since when I said I would go along with it, I did reserve the right to, if I had heard from folks that they wanted them. But I think it's something we should revisit. It's 11,900, and I thought Mary said it well at our last meeting that this is something that we do for our citizens. We heard a lot about events, but I think this is one that we do for our citizens. And of course, anecdotally, there have been a lot of conversations about sponsorships and things like that. And of course, we want to see that come to fruition. But in the meantime, that's an unknown. We would need to get it back in the budget and then hope that we would get the sponsorships. Is what my hope would be. So I would like to see that. And I know there was some confusion, of course, as far as what's it going to be for the 250th year because of the late July 3rd.
It's already in this budget for this year's fireworks. However, for next year, it would be us paying half of that installment. Now, I don't disagree with you. You and I agreed on the fireworks side of things, which is why I added it back in the draft budget for the 250th, because we already paid our deposit. And then the other side is that I think if we're going to embark on the cost, we should understand that cost is probably ours to keep, because we've been trying to get sponsorships and we've not been that successful.
Right, I think that's what I was what I said, yeah. So you're saying that half the cost is in this budget?
This year's fireworks show is in this budget.
Right, for the one that's the 2
July-
days after
July
the fiscal year. Yeah,
2026.
I just don't want the 27 fireworks to be cut out of the budget. That's
But right now they are because
Right.
there's no funding.
Yeah, so that's where I want those to be restored. So I guess it would be the amount that we need to include in the FY27 budget would be half the cost of the 11,900. Is that how?
It would be the full amount,
Okay.
because this year was an anomaly. Typically, we'll pay for 50% of the deposit in the fall, and then the rest of the payment is due that day. So July 3rd, we need to have a check for them. So that's usually done at July 1 for the next, that's usually done before July 1. So it's the full amount, with half of it going towards the deposit and the other half going towards,
Okay.
right.
And then next year, for 27.
So as of right now, our fireworks are set for July 3rd, 2026.
Right.
But I saw that it was cut from FY27. So if you wanted to add the fireworks back in, you would have to add the full
amount.
It's approximately 12,000 because there's the additional 500 for the fire.
Right.
So the 11,900 does not include the 500.
No, we received a bill from the fire company that we had to pay for this year.
But the 11,900, assuming it gets put back into the FY27, does not include, it would be an additional 500.
Mary, it's already, in the fire company funding. So
Okay, I see.
500 is in the budget.
It's
Fireworks
allocated
are not.
as fire company, not fireworks, gotcha.
Okay.
Let me make sure I understand. The increase that we're providing is the caveat that we're providing an operating income increase, but that's gonna waive the $500 fee, correct?
Well, I was not aware of that. I have
No, no, I'm
included
asking.
$500. No, I have that included
It is
in the fiscal 27 budget.
Okay,
Yes,
all right.
it's under fire company.
Under admin.
So how should we do this, Mayor? Do you want to do if we can get a group consensus on the fireworks to get back in? You want to do it as a motion?
Yeah, I agree, because let's figure out where the group mindset is, but I'm in support of the fireworks.
And then where's it going to come from? I would guess if we have consensus, Val's and Natalie's expertise, but the county grant funding would be something that I would throw out as an option, the additional county grant funding.
Let's just say that we have $55,000, because it's an unrestricted grant. I don't want folks to get confused that the grant has been assigned to something.
Yeah,
So
I
let's
understand
just
that.
talk,
Okay.
let's talk.
Yeah. So, all right, that's fireworks. Now, the sidewalk program, I don't want to go into a lot of details as far, but my first meeting when I was elected 4 years ago was to talk about sidewalks in the community. That we've had a lot of internal discussions on that, again, without divulging a lot there. We cut that because we were trying to get down to a balanced tax rate of, and that we had put in there for $20,000 to establish a new sidewalk program where it would be cost shared.
We have an existing program.
And I just want to clarify, it is not new sidewalks, it is repair to existing sidewalks, which per the town code is the responsibility of the property owner, but this would be a cost share.
Okay, thank you.
To lessen
Yeah.
that burden, but
Okay.
it's not new sidewalks.
Okay, gotcha. I think I meant, I guess I meant the reinstatement of the new program, because at one point in time, we had a,
Yeah.
right?
And I've actually started to draft
Okay.
a more formal document that actually defines it.
We held off once it was removed, but if we're gonna advance it, which I think it's a good thing to keep in, then I think that we need to revisit the policy to make sure it's up to date.
Okay. I'll end there with my two, I guess. Is there anybody else? I'm burning up over here.
You look like you're.
Should've put sunscreen on.
uncomfortable.
Just like Steve and probably, and everybody in this room, I'm in favor of the fireworks day. I am not in favor of altering the contingency related to health insurance. And if we are considering things, we really should consider how we're gonna get these ditches cleaned. Our ditches impact on our storm water management. And if they're not clean and maintained, it could happen that folks lose a lot of property. And I also believe with my whole heart that it is unreasonable to think that 60, 70, 80-year-old people can maintain these canoes, that we call ditches.
I agree with you. I mean, they are very challenging. You and I have talked about this many times, that once we go through and we make these changes, it requires specialty equipment to be able to maintain these things. How do we ask the taxpayer to handle that on the resident side of things? The challenge becomes we don't have the equipment or the expertise internally to handle that. So if we're going to address that, there is a mechanism to do it. It just has to be done in the stormwater fund. And we would have to find a way to be able to cover that cost, i.e. deferring certain items, which is already a very, very lean budget, so I don't know where there's really much to defer, or increasing the fee, whether it's a one-time fee to be able to come through and do all the ditches, but then they're just gonna grow again, so it's really a reoccurring type thing that we would probably have to contract out.
Yes, but we could try to at least maintain ditches or clear the ditch at least one time a year.
But we don't have the equipment.
It is a lady that lives across the street from me,
She's called Mayor's office.
Grace Purnell. She passed. She was
There's another one too.
94 or 98 years old. And the ditch that runs behind her house is one of the major arteries to our entire stormwater management system. That ditch looks better because I think it has been cleaned some, but that ditch is very important to our entire town. It's very important to everyone that lives within the incorporated area of the town of Berlin. Very important. And to ask, our rule is that Miss Grace was responsible for maintaining that ditch. I think, and I'm not talking about the entire town, but these major ditches need to be identified and maintained by the town, regardless of the equipment or whatever we need to do with what we need to make sure that these ditches are maintained.
And I hear that, and I also, they call into the mayor's office as well, Ms. Grace, not now, since she passed. But there's another resident right there where the S curve takes place, that ditch before it goes under Flower Street. And they call repeatedly as well. But the challenge is that we do not have the equipment to take care of it. And we also lack the trained equipment operators to handle it. So the challenge becomes, we can ask staff to do it, but they don't have the tools to be able to get the job done. So it's our job to provide those tools so that they can get it done, or provide the tools that allow them to be able to go source a third party that can then complete the work. I agree with you that we shouldn't ask the residents to do it.
But the first step would be assigning that responsibility to the tenant. And then we can move forward with what should take place. But we haven't even taken that responsibility.
This body can assume that responsibility, but nobody else, like staff, cannot do that on their own. It has to come from this body to take ownership and maintenance of certain things and then provide the funding to be able to get it done. It's our job to do that. We haven't done it.
So
No, we haven't.
let's talk about that part. So,
But the people,
so listen, I'm sitting right there, and I need to hear everyone sit there. So when we talk about this part, this ditch, the ditches, period, and then we use the terms take ownership, and then we talk about our responsibility as a town and whatnot. And then the reality is we don't have the equipment to service any ditches, be they town-owned or privately owned. Even if we had the approval and the go-ahead to do it, we don't have the equipment right now. So my question is there, I feel like a broken record, because every time we talk about this, we talk about the ditch person. I don't even know if the ditch person is still alive. I don't know if there's a ditch person still. Is there still ditch maintenance on the county level? And, yeah, give me 30 seconds. And if there is, how can we get this entity to come into the town or wherever and either contract them out, contract their services, as we've talked about since at least 2020, or find out if there's another entity around, another neighboring town, municipality, whatever, that does have ditch maintenance equipment that we can outsource.
you're fine, I was looking in here.
You said can I?
Oh, yes. So it's a common thing, you know, this desk is heavy. Or the mic is heavy. So the thing is that we don't have the equipment. The ownership decision has to come from this body. I'm trying to get to the stormwater fund, if anybody has that. Thank you.
What page?
66.
One second.
Well, I'm sorry, the council packet 70.
66 is the budget document. So when we look at, trying to find the revenue. There we go, stormwater revenues. That's what I wanted. So when we look at the revenue side of things.
It's at the top of
Yep,
that,
I actually have it.
page 65.
Residential stormwater fee. So our residential stormwater fee for the entire town is $162,000. Is that correct, Natalie?
Pulling up.
So the revenues coming in from every single resident in the town of Berlin to the stormwater fund is $162,000.
Residential.
Yep, residential. So with that being said, if we were going to assume operation and maintenance and ownership of these ditches, that number, Natalie, would have to go up at least by 50%, you think? To acquire equipment, you probably have additional personnel. I mean, I think that's being somewhat conservative. And if that happens, I really don't know if there's, correct, is there even an appetite to do that?
That's where I am. I'm asking that because I don't know even know if the property owner is going to be in the appetite. My brain goes back to when we were putting sidewalks in on Flower, and there was the acquisition of property to put the sidewalks ownership or whatever, I don't know if the residents where these ditches coincide with, I don't know if they're going to be so open to ownership from the town when it comes to the ditches. I mean, I can't say that, I can't speak for any or all of them, but I can't say they're all gonna willingly say, here, you can have my ditch, you can have my property.
I think you're probably right on that.
But we're not taking a ditch, we're maintaining the ditch, and
There would have to be some mechanism.
there would probably have to be an agreement. But as we stand here today, we don't know if those folks would agree or not, because we haven't done a thing.
You're right about that, too.
But the thing is like we can say we don't have the equipment, and if the direction is, hey, look, figure out how much it's gonna cost, then you gotta figure out by this body, what ditches we deem as needing to be done, right?
Now, I
Because,
made that recommendation back in the winter time. I made that
and that was,
recommendation.
we did survey
This
that,
town, Berlin,
about how much it would cost
organization,
There was an amount.
To
there was an
categorize
amount.
the ditches.
not for the ditch maintenance, that was for understanding the mapping of who owns what. But Jimmy, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but when we started looking at some of those costs for equipment and personnel, I felt like, I'm doing this off the cuff, but I felt like personnel-wise, you needed at least one other person to be, that's an equipment operator, whether that's part-time or full-time. And those, generally, the equipment operator salaries are higher than general salaries. And you need specialized equipment to be able to maintain it. We also asked the question because the type of equipment that you would use was also something we were asked about the railroad, whether or not we could assist with some of their stuff as well, and we said the same thing. We don't have the specialized equipment, we don't have the equipment operators on hand to be able to do that. We cannot take on that maintenance. And the same thing is, but if this body says, hey, look, we're gonna invest the money and mainly the money, and provide the direction to be able to go ahead and do those things, that's a different story. But right now, we don't have it.
What do you need to get?
We can put together a cost, but I felt like specialized equipment and stuff like that, you're looking at $162,000 in revenue. You're probably at least, I would say, $100,000 needed between staff time and equipment. I'm just doing that off the cuff. Am I far off?
Jimmy, didn't you look at a piece of equipment at one point,
Yeah,
just to get a sense of it, or Jamie?
$200,000 was the equipment, and then probably, like you're saying, another 60, 70, 80 for operator probably 80, in that range. And, again, getting back to identifying the ditches though too, that, you know, which ones we will do, are we doing for one, we do for all, however that is, you know.
It becomes very complicated very quickly. There are properties that they've looked at that you literally cannot get behind to get to the ditch. You can't put a big piece of equipment from one side of the ditch where there is access onto the other side. You have to go past houses.
And it seems, like you said, it seems
It's not
easy,
simple.
but it's not an easy thing to do.
Right.
I
It's not insurmountable.
I
but-
realize it's not an easy thing to do, but it seems like everybody I talk to says, Wendell used to cut the ditch banks.
It doesn't mean he was supposed to.
And the equipment that Wendell had and the staff Wendell had is nowhere near what we have now. Now, I would like to make a motion. I would like to move that the town of Berlin move toward developing a ditch maintenance policy and operation.
But can we unpack that? Because it's one thing to say it. We don't even know who owns what parts of ditches.
We don't even know where the ditches are.
You're
We
right.
don't even know what ditches would qualify.
Then how do we operationalize that? You
Because
make a
you do
motion.
your survey, and you put
That costs
resources,
$150,000.
you put resources toward developing the plan.
The resource is money, and this body has the
I'm not-
ability to develop that
I'm
resource.
not talking about in this budget. I'm not talking about in this
Then how do
budget.
we operationalize that? Like, how do I get staff to be able to carry that out? I can't, because we don't have the expertise in tournament, and we don't have the funding to hire anybody. So, yes, you can make a motion every day of the week, it can carry, it can pass, but I have no ability to carry it out.
Well, when a taxpayer property float down Beaver Street, or float down West Street, or float down Flower Street, or float down, is found in the park, we're gonna look really, really insufficient.
But staff are telling us that we need $150,000 to be able to identify what ditches are owned by who. Staff are telling us that we need $200,000 in capital equipment to be able to maintain these things. They're saying we need an additional $80,000 in salary line items to be able to bring the specialized folks on to be able to do it. They're telling us what it takes. We're kicking the can.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Who can-
We are kicking the can.
Who can we reach out to see how they may be here?
You brought up the tax ditches, and I meant to get to that a moment ago. We've been given some information that those tax ditches are not even capable of operating within their scope, because they have either don't have the equipment or don't have the funding to be able to do it themselves. So we're hearing that same message from other folks as well. It's not just us.
Well, I'm done. So you moved to Shanita, she had it.
Anybody, whoever wants to. She talked a moment ago, but she can talk to them.
Oh, well. Anyway, what am I talking about? And what?
We're trying to give you the microphone. Okay, that's what I was getting at. We don't know either.
I want ditches, I'm on this part, which part am I speaking on?
And you have nothing behind.
Tell me which one you're talking about.
Anything like your library?
I'm gonna set the mic here, anybody that wants it can ask.
Hold on.
You had something?
No, take my minute.
Oh, no, I was just gonna circle back around.
Go.
Okay. Okay. So, with this list here, one of the things that I believe we really need to get back into the budget and get started on is the code revisions that were cut. I know that's a pricey item, $100,000.
Say that one part again.
Code revisions that was cut from earlier versions. I know that's a pricey item, but I really, I do believe passionately, strongly that that needs to happen as soon as humanly possible. I understand it's not that simple, but you got to put out RFP and all that good stuff. But I think that this is one of those things. I don't believe that we're kicking it down the can per se, but I think that things have come to light recently that just show how antiquated, I guess, is the best word, sections of our code are. And I think Ryan might back me up on it a little bit. But not to put you on the spot. But I really would like to see that in there. The other things on this list, like I said, are suggestions and ideas. If there's no feel for the group on some of them, that's fine. The goal was to bump up contingency as much as we could. I'm going to go ahead and just remove that first line there about the health insurance thing. I don't feel that that's happening. But that $100,000, I believe, needs to come from somewhere. So I know that we have, I'm dipping my toe in this pool here. We do have legal consultation in planning. I get, from working with that vendor, the individual, I do feel that book-ish stuff and studying and something like code revisions would be something up her alley, if you will, that I think that she'd be very good at. So if there's a way we can mold that, make that work in conjunction with what is already in the draft adoption, I would be interested in having that discussion.
You look like you had something you wanted to
Does that make sense?
I was on fire, shade.
Oh. Well, I'm not going to throw shade at you.
Very easily move you right there. It will take 2 minutes. We can move this.
Yeah,
along.
push that whole chair around.
It's really not a big
Oh,
deal.
that is helpful.
Oh, man.
Put it in 60 chair.
I'm fine. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. The sun will go away in a moment. Now, the thing is that, Jack, to your point, the code revisions, I believe we all had a discussion about that as a group. And the reason that that was removed from this fiscal year, it's not because it's going away. It's because that we believe it's a little too early to do a comprehensive code review at this time. We said that, hey, look, that might be better in an FY28 budget. So that was the reason that it was removed.
I don't recall that, but I'm not saying that didn't happen. I think that, no data today. If we can get it in this budget, I say we can start. That's just my opinion.
Well, the other side is one of the folks that runs point on the code review is the legal side for planning. And they've even done that as recently as, last week? Making recommendations and working with the planning commission to be able to make their tools in their toolbox stronger to be able to get the work done that they need to do. So I think that I hear cutting that and adding the code revisions, but I think that would be a little short-sighted because that's the key team member that we need on the group to be able to help move that along.
That's what I'm saying.
And she's already doing it.
Well,
It's just you need a comprehensive
There are a
code
couple
review.
of other things to consider. Part of the comprehensive, the comprehensive plan process at the end will be recommendations to what they commonly refer to as the zoning code, which is pretty much everything that touches the planning department. So we're already working on the comp plan revision. So some of those recommendations will come at the end of that process. I don't know what form they'll take. I don't know that they will take the form of here is specific language, but they should be, you need to address these things. The thought of undertaking a comprehensive code revision is a much bigger bite than I think is easily understood.
And we're not ready for it.
And we're not ready for it. I think at this point, approaching things as we go right now, the next thing that we're looking at is site plan review. All of these things will add to improvements in the overall process in the code, and we'll start to get somewhere more comprehensive with it. But it really, a code revision involves reviewing different sections of the code against each other, reviewing sections of the code against state and county and federal regulation. It's really quite a big job.
100% agree. Totally, I hear everything you said and I agree with that. But what I'm asking, instead of looking at the 100,000, can we figure out a way to prepare for that when we do need it, instead of in one budget year having a whole big ticket item? I consider $100,000 a big ticket. So, yeah, so can we bank like 50,000 this year?
55,000? Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, it's gonna have to obviously come from something else, but I don't know what. So, my pen's leaking. So I would really like to see something like that happen if we can, on code revisions. If anyone else has anything to add.
Suggestion for the stream of revenues, if you're trying to set up an amount for a capital project, you gotta come up to a stream of revenue which you can set aside. Just setting up a set of capital expenditures as a code revision and not fund them, just going nowhere.
We could talk to the folks who are doing our impact fee review and see if it is an applicable expense. I don't know.
For the code revisions, I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think you're gonna have to use that for hard equipment.
I would tend to agree.
Would you agree? I mean, impact fees for code revisions, I don't think you're gonna get it.
I like that.
It's gotta be like something you can put your hands on.
Bricks and mortar,
Yep.
things like that.
Tangible.
It's not to say that we have to add
Well-
a portion of a fee to some of our permitting fees. I believe there was a county in Delaware that just added $5 1,000 to cover something very specific. I lost it right now. But there are other possibilities. But it's gonna take time to build that fund.
Well, like the parking fund, like the parking thing. Okay. I think that was all that I really had at the moment. But I know that there are some ideas and things that other folks have mentioned. So I just want to real quick kind of put a button on my end here that this discussion I thought was great. And the ditch discussion, Vice President Burrell, warmed my little heart. And for the record, I will second your motion of yonder. And I think that that could be a discussion. Well, I don't want to say discussion keep having, because discussions keep having discussions. But I think that what was said here today was actually could be a very good foundation for something in the future in terms of a stormwater ditch community involvement type of group. Similar to a committee, but not like an official town committee. Okay, so I'm not going to take the lead on making motions here. I think that Steve has one with the fireworks, I think. But if you want to go ahead and take it.
Well, hold on.
Or wait.
So, go back for 30 seconds, because Jack, you just said something about, keep down there, I don't know what, but I know that they can hear you. But you just said something a second ago about Mr. Burrell's motion. Mr. Burrell's motion, you said you would second that. I know it's still floating out there with nothing having been said. Is that your official second to Mr. Burrell's motion? Go back to your motion, sir.
Needs to be stayed with that motion.
My motion was that the town move toward developing a ditch maintenance policy and operation.
And then you stated something. You would second that? Yeah, you.
So I have a motion by Vice President Burrell to have the town create a ditch maintenance plan and what?
And operation.
And how it would be carried out. And a second by Councilmember Orris. Right? And all in favor? Say aye. All opposed? Let the record reflect that the vote's unanimous with Councilmember Nur absent. I go back to the body to ask the question. How do you want me to carry that out as the mayor that oversees the departments that have to do the work? Because, no, I mean, it's one thing to rub my shoulder, but they've done the work and they've brought that material here to this body. $150,000 in a plan to get funded in the stormwater budget to be able to identify ownership, $200,000 in capital equipment, and $80,000 in salaries. So now, once again, having that information, what do you all do with it?
Well, I'm not gonna be the one to suggest this, but I will, I guess, because I hear what you're saying. Operationally, you're looking for guidance as far as how to carry out the motion.
Because the work, that part's been done.
Right, 100%, I understand. But what hasn't been done is how to fund it, right?
And that's here.
Yeah.
That's this body.
And this would only be for evaluation purposes, I think, to carry out the operation of the motion. When we created this stormwater utility, however many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, 13 years ago, we created the baseline fees, the commercial fees, and the residential fees, right? And I get what I'm saying, the reason why I'm saying it is because I think if we're trying to carry out the intent of the motion, it needs a revenue stream. To have staff bring us a plan of an incremental increase in those fees to see what that does, what that bites off of the apple of this large expense.
But if you look at the revenues, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can almost do that with the information we have in front of us.
Right now,
Yeah, I mean, we have the information.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying you got $162,000 in residential stormwater fees. You had a little less than that in commercial stormwater fees. You would need to double that, if not a little bit more than double, in order to carry out what you all just voted for. And you all aren't gonna do it. You know that and I know
You
that.
don't know that.
No.
But what you need to do, Zach, is bring us the plan as you
Have the
requested.
plan. It was in your draft budget. You all removed it because there's no revenue stream for it. We have done that job. I hear you.
Well,
I share the pain because they called the office.
Can't we get a recommendation from staff?
They have.
Related to,
They have given you that.
uh,
It was in your draft. I wish I had my binder.
Now, and does the water rate study include stormwater?
and we don't have to do this tonight.
But no, you made the motion tonight.
So, can I
It's
say
important for
something?
the public, hold on one second.
Yeah.
It is important for the public to understand that staff have done that work. We have given the council the information that they need. You all need to choose how you carry that out.
Well, give it to us in
$150,000 for the report. Staff compiled that for this year's budget. That is an accurate number. You need $200,000 from capital equipment. You just heard it from the department heads. And you need $80,000 for salaries for staff. That is what you need. Am I wrong? In the capital equipment? Am I wrong in the salary numbers that you just said?
I would say
$200,000.
Capital equipment is probably wrong because that number was gathered about a year ago.
2021.
But we've looked at that recently, and you're still at least $200,000.
That's a yes, I would say that's a yes.
So I hear you all, but I've given you what I think is the staff's work. Now, can we move on to the budget that we have in front of us this evening? Steve, I think you made some ideas that I think we have some consensus around. Can I summarize them,
Yeah.
please? So $11,900 for fireworks. I agree with that. I think we have consensus up here. The sidewalk plan, which is not for new sidewalks, it's for a mechanism to be able to work with residents to replace sidewalks in front of their property or in their development. That plan still needs to be vetted out further with this body, but that would be a $20,000 increase. Is that where I think we've got some consensus, folks?
Yeah, so it's not really repairs, it's sidewalk conversation.
Well, no, it's designed for repair of sidewalk, but we need to vet out what that plan looks like a little bit further, because there is something in existence, but it's not brought up to current.
I have a more formalized plan that I can present to the council.
Am I there?
Yeah, that's it. So
Can we get a motion for the budget with those amendments, Steve?
Do we wanna bring, I'm gonna the other pieces here, do you wanna bring the vehicle maintenance back to I'm looking at the line items on this suggestion, and I see that the $20,000 was brought back to the table within that $55,000 allocated funds, right? And then the 11,900 for the fireworks. But there are some low lines through here too, like the increase of vehicle maintenance right here for the 1,500. Do we want to bring that, anything else here back to the table before we make this motion?
That seems reasonable. I mean, you're talking about the $1,500 in 01, 5,300, 52, 57?
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable.
Mayor, my question is, which funding are we applying
I
to
think
fireworks and to the sidewalk repair?
the goal would be to utilize the additional 55,000 in revenue with the remainder hopefully going, because the truth of the matter is that those capital projects are not going away. So I think putting some off to the side, it's not us banking the money so much as we're recognizing that we don't have the ability to exercise the capital equipment that is much needed this fiscal year, and we're preparing ourselves for executing that next fiscal year's budget. So I would encourage the remainder of that to still go off and be ready to go for next fiscal year. Is there consensus on that? So let me summarize. 11,900 for fireworks, 20,000 for the sidewalk repair, $1,500 for the vehicle maintenance in public works. Can we get a motion to adopt the budget with those changes?
Is there anything else, fellas?
Well, is all of this coming out of the county?
Well, it's coming out of $55,000 in revenue.
What you just listed adds up to $33,400.
The remainder would go into the capital reserve fund.
So that would be 20.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
So I have a motion motion by Councilmember Green to adopt ordinance 2026-04, the FY 27 budget, as presented with the following amendments, adding $11,900 for fireworks in economic development, adding $20,000 in sidewalk maintenance in 5320, 5252, and adding $1,500 in vehicle maintenance back to Public Works, 5300, 5257. Do we get a second? And the remainder going to capital reserve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
So I have a second by Councilmember Nichols. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Jack, how do you vote?
I would really like to see some code revision somehow.
How do you vote on the motion? It's on the floor.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, but it doesn't change if there's a vote with the motion, but.
I'm gonna go with, aye.
Thank you. So we have 3 in favor and 1 opposed, Vice President Burrell, and 1 absent, Councilmember Nur. Thank you all. The FY 27 budget passes. Thank you all to the team, everybody that's put in the work to carry that forward. I really appreciate it. Thank you to my colleagues. You might, just to the public and everybody that's here, you might see us debate items and go back and forth on line items, but that's really doing the due diligence that the budget needs and that it deserves. And I think that it's a very important part in the process. So thank you, my colleagues.
So how far out did you, what did you say, Mary, as far as code revision? How far did you say out?
I honestly don't know, I do not have a price on that. That is not,
I mean, the
we know
work.
that it's a big, big job. when we do
Probably
it.
At least that's the earliest you would see. And Vice President Burrow.
I just have a comment, concerning our finance department and management leadership. I sat here and I listened to how you break things down and how you explain stuff. And I listened to your commitment to your position and seeing that this budget is a real living document. And I appreciate you and I appreciate the work that you do.
Thank you so much. Thanks to the team. The whole department's participating. Everybody is living and breathing, trust me on that.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. All right, let's move on to agenda item 5. That's items for approval. Before each one of these are action, there will be the opportunity for public comment. We'll begin with agenda item 5A, motion 2026-30, RFP 2026-05 for the West Street Lift Station. As DBF, but Jamie's going to run for it.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. We're asking for the approval to move forward with bidding and getting, soliciting bids for move the lift station out of the street, and the part that we ordered back in early April, late March should be here within the next month or 2. So we'd like to get moving on the project, get it moving forward.
Thank you. Any questions for Jamie?
I just want Jamie, we talked about this in the past, just to restate what the project scope would look like as when time comes. Was it street closure?
We're thinking the street should be closed between 2 and 3 weeks, depending on the weather. If it stays like this, it should move a lot quicker because they will be working, it'll be drier conditions, and we'll be roughly 24 to 25 feet in the ground out of the school, on the school property. We have to replace a lift station on the north side of the ditch on West Street. We will have to do there's about 300 foot of water main we're going to replace, 300 foot of sewer main we got to replace, because where we're moving the lift station further down the road, we have to reverse the sewer on some of that street to make it work.
But it is a vital improvement to West Street as well.
Well,
It gets the equipment up and out of the road, makes it easier for maintenance and operations, and it improves the underlying infrastructure in that area that we'll be working on in West Street. We're looking at the whole thing, but really while we're here working, it will improve that.
Yeah, right now, every time we have to do any work in that lift station, we have to call the electric department to get them to pull the lid out of it and you're actually laying in the street at times with your feet out in the road, working on stuff, because everything's underground.
Pretty
So
sure
it'll-
we've gotten calls about people thinking someone's like dead or
Yeah.
injured there.
So this will be moving the lift station in the yard, out of the road, fenced in, because the school asked for it to be fenced in where it's on their location of their property.
Jimmy, will it be a new pump station?
Yes, it is completely it will not be a rehab. We will be removing the old one. Reason being is the old one is going to be removed in case we ever do construction for West Street as part of this project.
When we do
Yes,
construction on West Street. And it'll look similar to like what's over by,
Food Line, Broad Street.
so,
So is that, I'm sorry, so it's not gonna have the building, it'll be.
No, but it'll be that'll be
Like little, okay.
alright, so can we get a motion, or well, any public comment regarding motion 2026-30? Seeing none, take action by the council.
Motion to approve, 2026-30, approval to issue RFP for West Street Station.
I have a motion by Councilmember Orris,
Second.
second by Councilmember Nichols. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect the vote unanimous with Councilmember Miller absent. Up next is agenda item 5B, motion 2026-31, Fiddlers Convention date change in Jazz and Blues 2027. President David Fitzgerald let me know that Garrett was going to be standing in, so go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Can you talk about it?
I can talk loud. Thank you for having me here tonight. I'm here before you tonight to humbly request two changes in dates. The first being the Fiddlers Convention. We originally had it placed for Friday, September 25th and Saturday, September 26th. This was in an effort to not conflict with the Maryland Folk Festival. Since approval, that has been canceled, and we were hoping to move it to Friday, September 18th and September 19th, in hopes to not conflict with Ocean's Calling in Ocean City. Keeping the September 25th and 26th as a great date.
Thank you. You want to tackle Jazz and Blues as well?
Yep, Jazz and Blues, we postponed for 2026 to give a break to staff with the intention of bringing it back in 2027. I'm here tonight in front of you asking that we approve the date of Saturday, May 15th, and that is an effort to secure the best quality talent and sponsorship.
Thank you. Any questions from the council?
So,
Yeah, sure.
Hey, how are you? I'm fine, thanks. My question really is, since there was no Jazz and Blues last year, right? Right.
This year.
This year. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So then, my question, this was on the list that we got, Ivy?
Correct.
Yep. Okay.
But this was on the list of costs, so that the group understood the cost, but it was not an FY.
Right. No, I know it didn't happen. I was wanted to know that it was on the list. Okay. That was the only question.
Yeah, no, I think you covered it all. I mean, I think the Fiddlers Convention date change is justified. I was concerned about it conflicting with Ocean's Calling from the get-go, frankly, but I get the not wanting to conflict with the folk festival and so on too. So, yeah, that's really all I have to add.
Thank you. Anything from economic development?
I would recommend that you approve this date change.
Thank you.
And the addition of Jazz and Blues for 2027.
Thank you. Anything from the public regarding motion 2026-31? Seeing none, we'll take action by the council. So I have a motion by Vice President Burrell. Second by Councilmember Orris. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, let the record reflect that motion 2026-31 passes unanimously with Councilmember Miller absent. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one. All right, up next is motion 2026-32, and that's waiving the Taylor House Museum sign fee permit. Kate, I think you're running point.
Yeah,
Anything outside of what's in the packet?
nope, that's it.
All right. Any council questions? Seeing none, any comments from the public regarding motion 2026-32? Seeing none, we'll take action by the council.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Councilmember Green, a second by Vice President Burrell. All in favor say aye. All opposed, let the record reflect that motion 2026-32 passes unanimously with Councilmember Miller absent. Okay. But you voted in favor? Yeah, that's fine, you're good. I just wanted to make sure I had the record correct. All right, motion 20, so we're on to 5D, motion 2026-33. This is United Energy Trading LLC, annual natural gas agreement. Mary, you're running point.
This is an annual agreement for the purchase of natural gas for the power plant. There's a recommendation in your packet from John Keto with Booth Associates, who is our electric utility consulting firm. Really, just if there are any questions. These are the recommended terms. John is recommending an 18-month contract versus 12 months.
So the amount is the 553, not the 547. Is that correct?
I'm actually going to ask Laura Pike, but she's kind of been handling it
Correct.
for me.
So he explained last week that rates couldn't be held more than 2 business days. So each time we checked in with him, he gave us rates for that day. So the rates we received last week were, what was it, $5.47? And as of today, which would be the rate we would be locking in at, is $5.53. And it's the same for both the 12-month and 18-month contract, but he recommended 18 months because it's essentially, what's the word? Minimizes our risk.
Well, let's get approved of all.
Well, and that's why he wasn't able to provide the contract to you until today, because he can only hold those prices for 2 days.
Do we have any questions from the phone? If not, can we get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 2026-34, or I'm sorry, 33 for this.
Second.
It has been moved and second that motion for United Energy Trading of gas agreement, natural gas agreement, be approved. All in favor?
Aye.
And there's no opposed. What I need to say. All opposed? Yeah, okay. Moving right along to, letter E. Motion to approve energy pump, emergency pump repair. And I believe,
Yeah, it's one of the pumps that we have to use at the plant. We were down just a little while it was getting repaired, but we were able to make, actions to keep the plant operating, so it was an emergency to get it repaired. So I went ahead and I had to get it all, move forward, get it repaired, so we can get it back in operation.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the council?
This might be silly, but this is 526 operation. That's this year, coming out of this year's.
Yes.
That's correct. Okay, any comments from the public? Seeing none, action by the council, please. So a motion by Councilmember Green, second by Councilmember Orris. All in favor say aye. All opposed, let the record reflect the motion 2026-34 passes unanimously with 34 passes unanimously with Councilmember Nur absent. Up next is agenda item 5F, motion 2026-35, and that's the emergency preparedness radios. Give me 1 second to get to that in my pack. Yes, please. I'm still battling the foot with one hand.
138.
Thank you. Throw me off because you don't want to listen to me. I see you juicing me out. Not just window. All right. Motion 2026-35. We're on to we're all giddy because of the down budget. All right, so this is for the L3 Harris radios totaling $17,500. Thought we had the quote in here. Maybe it is on. There, okay, pass it. So, page 32. Hang on. Oh,
The quote technically doesn't have a page number since it was added today.
all right, Councilmember Nichols is going to share with me. So, the quote per unit was $3,500 that we received from Worcester County Emergency Services. The 10,500, I think, that we were talking about in the general fund budget, for the contingency, the reason that this is higher than that is because in water resources there was one, and in electric there was one. So when you add those $3,500 together, and then you add right down here items 18 and 19 on the quote, so that's the mics and the chargers, that increased the original quote that we received by $2,497.50, bringing the total to $19,813.50. So first I'll open it up to the council for any questions or comments.
So can I start? So my thought on this thing, these radios, let me clear the air. When I say I don't want these, I'd like, because I go back to the conversation we had a little while ago in regards to how often are we running preparedness drills? And there was no true definitive in regards to that. When I think about this, when I think about the preparedness aspect, and this is one of my little friendly areas, like as far as MML, that was one of my groups. But when I think about this, I think about how I have to practice when it comes to accountability and budgets and the things that I do at my other job. Before I can request a new piece of equipment, I have to justify the use, and I understand the justification of use, but then I also have to try this out with the borrowed item from another entity. So what I'd like to see before we go out and make this purchase, because I mean, I'm not saying that $10,000 or $17,000 at the end of the day is going to break the bank, but look at our budget. That my thing is, I'd like to see us have a running record of doing emergency preparedness drills with the use of, during a non-emergency situation, using the radios that the county supplies in a non-emergency setting. You see what I'm saying? For at least 6 months.
We don't use what the county's put up.
But what I'm saying to you is, even if we're not using theirs at the moment, like,
Can you explain how you think that we use them now?
you get on the house, how are
We
we
do.
using them?
Actually, so
Okay, so great, tell me about that then.
So we have 15 repurposed radios from the police department that we currently use. And when we talk about like how, great the storm response is, right? And then we talk about like how, you see it on social media, everybody's happy that the ambulance was able to make it to their home in the snow emergency. That's because of these radios. But the challenge is that we're using old devices that were no longer suitable for public safety use. We repurpose those for public works and our use, right? And the challenge now is that an old unit that they couldn't use anymore, we are starting to see like items break or not work. Like we can't even get the batteries to be conditioned anymore, which means that so that they're like, you would condition like their weed trimmer battery at home so that it extends the life. You can't do that anymore. And you can't even get really parts and stuff for the radios that we have anymore. So what we're trying to do is start a phase out plan where we use the department heads that are the ones that are communicating with their teams. So before we had asked for radios, right? The council said no to radios. What we did was I knew as the person that oversees the administration side that we needed them, and I articulated it to the group, and you all said no. I said okay. So we found another way to do it, right? But it's not perfect, and it doesn't tie in great with the system, but it works, right? But there's what's called a latency. So if Jack is going to say something, it might cut off part of the message
With the
because
current radio.
well, no, with the bricks, the 2.0 bricks that we have, or the 1.0 bricks,
That's
they tie into this radio system. But what we're doing is we're using the actual radios that we repurposed from the police department for emergency preparedness. So most recently we had a snowstorm. We were literally plowing in ambulances and fire trucks using radios. And we were responding to be able to help with water leaks and stuff like that at residents' homes, which really damages their property. So by increasing our response time, it's less damage on the resident side of things. We're using the radios for the electric department to know when to shut off electric services when the fire company asks for those things. So these radios are used, this is part of the capital replacement cycle. Now, to your point about emergency preparedness, we can certainly do better on drills, but we just need some help in having some people run point on that. But that's a separate issue and aside from this.
I'll take it. Okay, so hearing you say that, you said there are 15 of them in existence currently. And how many of them are operational without there being the fudging and the budging and the?
Most of them are operational, however, we have mics that have failed. I don't have an exact number of that. We have batteries that don't last long, and when the departments grab these, they're not lasting the true, you should get a day's worth of use almost out of a battery on a radio, and you're not getting that. You're getting 4 or 6 hours maybe, and when you're having crews work, Jimmy, how long were you guys out here? 2 days, pretty much. And yeah, 2 days.
Right.
So, I mean, not having that ability is really, it causes a damper in the, it's a break in the system.
And between that and the brick, there were lasting losses.
Not 100%, because what we did was we took the ones that work the best and put them in these types of roles, but they're failing. So the reason that we do this process is because we're looking out a year, right? And looking out a year, you have devices that are currently failing and not meeting what we need. So when the storm or something arises, we use them most frequently in the snowstorms. I talked to the chief about how we're going to start tying those in more with the events that we're running. So the fire company and on their EMS radios and their chief's radios, they can swing over and talk on the town channel. They'll have the Kubota with the town channel. They'll be able to work together with Public Works that are then blocking the streets in areas. It's going to improve the system all the way around.
Is it true that currently the fire EMS can't communicate with the police through the radio system?
Not really. So they have, police, oh, hold on, I'll explain that. So, and Fisher and Howard, let me know if I'm wrong, but the way that it works is PD operates on PD's channel. Some folks can monitor that, right? But they can't, only law enforcement can talk on the PD channel.
That's the encryption, right?
Not really. The encryption makes it so you can't really hear it on a scanner, like a household scanner. But it doesn't change the talking that takes place on the channel.
We do have to, if we're gonna communicate with the fire department, we have to communicate on a non-encrypted line. If they try to communicate on ours, we can hear them, they cannot hear us. It will just blank out. But just to further kind of, so you have an understanding, fire department is not like us on their lines. Law enforcement by nature of these, we do a lot of talking and communicating on our radios versus the fire department prefer to keep their lines clear for emergencies and things. So we try not to cross over.
But if they needed to talk to one another, there are things called coordination channels.
Yes.
And those exist on the radios to be able to talk in a joint way. But it has to be a structured type of thing. Does that make sense? So the way that we're working to overcome that, rather than flipping over to a coordination channel that's county-wide, our crews already operate on the Town of Berlin channel. The bricks tie into the Town of Berlin channel. PD has that in their radios. Fire and EMS have it in their radios. With the storms, we do that, right? Like we were unified on one channel, talking together and working together. And then PD would go and further their communications on just their channel. Fire would do the same thing. But we had a joint way of coming together to be able to handle unified conversations. And that's what this helps the process. Does that make sense?
I'm sorry, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm following.
All right, so any other council comments or questions?
I don't want to assume, so if these 5 radios, are those 5 folks in the town EOC?
They are actually within the continuity of government, so yes, yep. So they would be the continuity of government.
And then, if this doesn't happen to pass, are you just gonna go ahead and take them out of 10,500?
No, I said in the budget that that's not gonna happen. I would stand by that. But I think this should happen, and if it doesn't, then it's really hindering the operations of the town of Berlin at critical times, right? Like, we're not talking about, like, can I flush my toilet? It's, can I get an ambulance to my house in a unified way with plowing and those types of assets. So really, that's what you're voting on.
And are you, I know it's separate but not related to countries, are you anticipating developing some sort of drill exercise?
We've talked about that, Howard and I have as well.
Yeah.
Like, because we need to train better, but part of that is that the reliability of these things is not great, so they're not used as much as what they should be used. Like, every department head, which is where these are gonna go, to communicate with the subordinate level staff, will have them every day.
And how many of our staff are emergency essential?
Well,
How many?
emergency essential. How many do you typically pull in? You can basically look at electric, water, public works, and sewer and stormwater are your key, like, emergency assets. Now, depending on the emergency, we also have some admin support that gets tied into that as well. Yep. Fiscal, human resources, messaging, like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that, that gets tied in. I mean, I bog down Kate and Laura's inboxes all the time when we're doing a storm, so. All right, anything else? If not, we'll open it up to the public. Open it to the public regarding motion 2026-35. Seeing none, we'll take action by the council. I have a motion by Vice President Burrell. So I have a second by Councilmember Green. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
One.
Let the record reflect that Councilmember Green, Orris, and Vice President Burrell in favor, Councilmember Nichols in opposition, and Councilmember Miller absent. Thank you all.
Mayor, just restate the amount because the
Yes.
motion on the table did not have.
$19,813.50. Thank you.
Can I ask this, that the motion has passed on last, that you guys got, it's not that I don't want this, but I just wanna make sure that all things that we say we're gonna do is this, that we are going to do. And I'm not taking the motion down, because I know that you guys will not, and I wanna make sure you're prepared. But at the same time, if this is gonna be used, because I mean, when I look through this, my interpretation was emergency preparedness, not just all of the other practices mentioned. So I mean, if this is going to be used in that sense, I would truly recommend or hope that we're gonna move forward with, since you're getting this thing, these items with more practice, more drill, and what have you, so that if there's a day when we come back and talk about this, and we haven't had a storm in 40 years, guys, how are we using these radios?
You'll actually probably see this one again for next fiscal year, because it's part of a replacement cycle of the radios that we currently have in the system. So it's probably a 3-year gig.
Right, I just wanna make sure that, I'm hoping that as these storms don't happen anymore, do you hear me say that? As these storms don't happen anymore, as much as I love a little snow day, that you're still, right, that too, that you're still, you know what I mean, doing the preparedness drills, be they annual, semi-annually, what have you, and using these radios.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Up next, agenda item 5G, resolution 2026-06, redesignation of the enterprise zone and economic and community development director, Ivy Wells, general.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll speak up, so I don't need the microphone. You have the resolution in your packet. We are asking, specifically the Worcester County especially, and myself included, asking for the redesignation of Berlin to remain an enterprise zone.
Thank you. Do you want to talk briefly for anybody that doesn't understand what that means? As far as like the employment credits and stuff like that?
So historically, the people who have applied, the businesses that have applied for enterprise zone tax credits, we don't have any employers that have applied for the employment tax credit, but we do have several that have applied for the real estate tax credit. And what that means is, I'll use Forgotten 50 as an example. They applied for enterprise zone tax credits previously, and any improvements that they did to the warehouse, converting that warehouse, what it used to be, into the bar and restaurant, the additional improvements are eligible for the tax credit. So what was there before is not eligible. The improvements that they made it is eligible. The Heart of Berlin, they have also applied for enterprise zone tax credits, and they received enterprise zone tax credits for the rebuilding of that block on Main Street. Twisters, they received enterprise zone tax credits for the improvement of their property. Tractor Supply, when they added on an addition, now Tractor Supply in its entirety didn't receive those tax credits, only the assessed value of the additional build out that they did. I think those are the only entities that
I just
have
wanted
enterprise
everybody to
tax
know that
credits.
this enterprise zone has real ramifications and impacts on business in Berlin. So it's important that you have these types of destinations.
Some of the developers,
It's something that people look at when they're gonna make those capital investments.
correct, and the county uses it to help with bringing business development into town, mostly for Snow Hill and for Pocomo, and also Berlin.
Thank you. All right, any questions regarding, resolution 2026-06, the council?
Well, yeah,
Here,
it's
just
more of
take
a
this.
reiteration of what Ivy just said. It's the credit is the new, the new assessment of the properties, right, after the improvements.
Right.
And the geographic area, it's in here, the acreage, but obviously it's on Ocean City Boulevard, comes to Main Street, and does it keep going? Can you tell me where it goes from there? The enterprise zone?
Yeah, is there a map in the packet? No?
If it's on the website, I can look there.
It's on the
But
council.
I'm specifically, I guess, talking about the,
Hold on, I'll tell you, I have it.
Maryland has a GIS layer for it.
okay. So the redevelopment of the chicken plants, what I'm having in mind, I guess that would be something that could be potentially eligible in enterprise zone.
I believe so.
So, yeah. No, I think it's an important thing too. I support this, but we have other comments.
Yes, yeah, Heron Park's included in that.
My only question really was on the actual map. I noticed that there are some, and it wasn't a whole lot, so I don't think it really is a huge thing, but some of the zone was out of the, just a smidge over the town of Berlin town limit. But when I read it here, it's more, when that happens, it's more because of a zone of the area. So I just want to make sure that that is the accurate statement to make. So it's just a little over the town of Berlin line, so it's in the county,
Yes.
but it's more of that area of whatever road that might be or whatever business is there.
You're talking about what was highlighted in orange, correct?
Yes, I believe so. Yep. Okay. I just wanted to make sure for everybody.
All right, so let's open it up to the public regarding resolution 2026-06. Okay, seeing none, take action by the council.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Councilmember Ort,
Second.
second by Councilmember Green. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Let the record reflect that resolution 2026-06, the redesignation of enterprise zones within the town of Berlin, passes unanimously with Councilmember Nur absent. Up next is agenda item 6, and this is a discussion item regarding commercial trash collection downtown in Berlin. And the Director of Public Works, Jimmy Charles, and Economic and Community Development Director Ivy Wells are going to run point.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Since moving away from the 4 and 6 yard dumpsters, Public Works is recommending that we stop collecting commercial food waste downtown. The simple reason is downtown has grown, we have more restaurants and customers, we have a lot more trash that we use, which is being used. That's a good thing for businesses, but it's created issues in the Public Works Department. We're picking up larger volumes of food, waste, and that we can reasonably handle. And I don't feel like the waste wheelers meet the needs of these businesses in the downtown area. We also do multiple stops in the downtown area of food and waste. It's very heavy. Going forward, we'd like to see that the restaurants work with private dumpster companies and make it more efficient for the town to do our jobs, but not handle these heavy volumes of food and waste. So we're recommending that this is not a punishment to businesses, it's just doing what's best for the town and, moving forward from that point.
The other thing is that the type of can that we have is not really designed for food waste.
Correct.
So, I think that's an important distinction as well. All right, so this is, I'll bring it up here. Unless I have anything, it's a discussion item. We'll open it up to the council for any discussion.
A while back, probably a year or two, maybe even further now, it was mentioned that outsourcing residential pickup for trash, and the concern there was that the town hall, customer service, et cetera, would receive complaints and concerns that they weren't really able to handle because we weren't doing it. So I guess I am asking for, it's a discussion, so I'm just asking for, is there a plan for that if some restaurant calls and say, hey, X company didn't get my stuff?
No, because that would be their contract with that company.
And the other side is,
No, the town would have no involvement in that relationship.
the other side is we peel back the commercial services that we offer. We don't offer the big dumpsters and stuff like that anymore. We were offering those services, but the volume of customers were so low that it didn't really justify the staff time, capital, and equipment to substantiate that service. So the mayor and council at the time that was considered peeled that back. With this, the challenge becomes that we really don't have the specialized equipment to handle food waste. And if you are gonna have food waste, you need that contract with somebody that has that special capability to meet them.
What other municipalities have those special capabilities? Like does
Not
Snow Hill
municipalities,
or-
but like private companies that would handle that.
Okay.
So you would contract with a third party vendor, not a municipality.
Well, the only, we just remember during the budget session when this came up, we talked about this would be a discussion item, and that there were, the point I just remember making is if we were to consider taking this away, is what would the town be willing to do to offer a solution for the private businesses that would be greatly affected by it. I think one of the conversations, it's in your memo that you want to do that. I think one of the conversations we had was providing a space in the town lot behind town hall for a dumpster. I just wanted to throw that out there. That was a conversation that we had. The dumpster would be maintained by the private businesses, but I think that was something that when we talked about it, we didn't want to just yank a service without some sort of opportunity to address the hardship that would come with it. Obviously, there'd be a financial hardship for you, but I think there was a practical issue that we wanted to try to address as well. I know a couple of you are here, so I'm very anxious to hear what they have to say too, but I just wanted to address that as a conversation we did have.
We didn't plan to just stop the service, but folks will be given proper notice, so they will be able to prepare themselves. What I understood Jimmy to say, in addition to possibly not having the right cans or dumpsters, business is so good downtown that capacity has outgrown your department's capacity to provide a service.
Correct. We're actually dumping twice a week in some of these locations. And we would like to actually limit that back because our fee isn't covering the amount of volume that we're receiving.
We were talking about the waste dealers. No, I'm sorry.
Yes, Mayor. When we're talking about the waste, when we're talking about the waste wheelers, these are the same dumpsters that we're using as residents. But tell me this, when we're thinking about a restaurant, roughly how many waste wheelers are we talking about per entity?
Some of them have 4, some of them have 2 to 3.
And they have to be empty twice weekly at least?
Right now, they are, yes.
Do you think that, I mean, is that enough, or would,
Probably actually not, because there's been multiple times in the last couple months that we've come, that the waste wheelers they're open,
Right.
bags are stacked on top, they're laying on the ground. So we're actually, in a way, going above and beyond what we ask our normal residents to pick up, you know,
right?
so.
Because for a resident, we have to have everything in the waste wheeler, it can't be anything on the outside.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, every once in a while, a resident will have a bag, it's over top.
That's
We
not-
don't get out of it,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, but we just can't have that continuously, weekly. It's just putting more of a hardship on us and the town, and a burden on the town.
I asked that because, I mean, in my head, I don't want to compare restaurants in Berlin to restaurants in another area, but in my head, I know that in other areas, like the kitchen trash is being emptied every day in some places and every other day in others. So if we're just hitting it twice a week, I was just curious as to if we thought something like, you know what I mean, that it deserved better attention than what we're capable to provide.
Correct.
All right. Any, one from the public that would like to address the mayor and council regarding this potential shift in town services?
Yes, I would.
Can you just use the mic and?
I'll speak louder if that suffices. I get it. It's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, give it a try, but if we hear some complaints on there, then we'll have to shift back to the mic.
Yeah, I understand. So my concern with that
Just
is
name
so my name is Marcos Lopez. I'm with 410 Social, so I'm one of the businesses located on Pitt Street. My major concern, well, there's a few concerns really, is one is what you mentioned, our household receptacles are the same, and most of that is trash, right? So I think that's fair to say, and I do understand what he's saying, and I guess I would really like to know is, what is the biggest burden? Is it? It's manpower, I do understand that, right? But what is the alternative? So we go privately, correct? It's much more difficult to get the end result you want with a private company. And when you're talking about 5 smaller businesses down there, obviously the price increase is gonna be significant. Then not only that, if we're talking about complaints from the residents, they're gonna provide us the same exact receptacles, because I've looked into pricing these out. We're getting the same receptacles that we use right now, because we wouldn't be able to put a dumpster there. So let's say we address the issue of complaints, right? And we say, none of these receptacles, we don't like these receptacles, not used for, not the best or adequate source to put trash in, right? Our best option is a dumpster that's about 100 yards away from our businesses. So then we have to think a few things there. We're taking trash bags 100 yards away from our establishments, loaded with food like we all discussed. Very heavy. Think about it, I respect the burden, I understand that, but I just feel like there needs to be a more amicable solution here, because there is gonna be another result that's gonna be a negative result on what we choose to do. If we're saying get rid of these receptacles, find a larger dumpster, which, I mean, you guys know parking is an issue in Berlin, where we put a dumpster. And we could ask J&M, can we put a dumpster behind your business? I don't feel comfortable asking them to do that, because I mean, let's be honest, they have outside seating. Who's gonna wanna sit on their outside patio right next to those dumpsters, right? There's, the other part of it too is even if we get a dumpster there, it's still probably not gonna be enough, to be completely honest with you. We have a 4-yard dumpster, the largest dumpster you're gonna get is an 8-yard. That won't be a larger imprint on where the dentist office allows us to have a dumpster. So we're already getting some help with the local business there to allow us to put the dumpster there. So do we ask for a larger dumpster? If we do, get one of the large compactors, it's a significant eyesore. You take away more parking spots in a place where we need as much parking as possible for everyone in the town. And I think to some level, I do understand it's a burden to the town, but I mean, we have to respect that we bring some benefit to the town, right? I mean, we do bring some revenue if we're talking about budgets right now, guys. I mean, we employ people. I just feel like there needs to be fair consideration on both sides of the fence. We're absolutely here to work with you and come to a solution that is of benefit to everybody. So from what I understand from me, the emails that Samantha provided in her discussions with, I believe, Ivy and some other other departments within the local government, we can get two more trash cans there. I know it's not ideal, and I understand that, and like I said, we're just looking for the best solution, right? This receptacle is gonna be the same. The eyesore is still gonna be the same because you have growing businesses. We're trying to adapt to what is needed. So with more businesses, they get one can because maybe they feel that's enough. But there has to be some kind of reasonableness to this as well. If they're gonna have businesses down there that wanna operate and feel like the town is kind of helping them out. We never got sent anything in regards to, hey, we did an assessment, here's a cost analysis, we're gonna have to increase the price. That might be something we're willing to take. We're just trying to say, like, I feel like a little more discussion, we're just gonna help us, it's gonna help us get to a better solution, right? Everyone wants to do what's best for Berlin, but put something in front of us that says, hey, can you guys pay another $100 a month, a quarter, whatever it is, because this would help us maybe get a few more people employed, right? Which could be a better thing. And it's also gonna hopefully help some of the budget problems that you guys are speaking about today too.
So we appreciate the feedback, and that's the reason why we have it on tonight as a discussion item, is because there is no defined solution at this time. What we're doing is trying to really work through a challenge that's been brought to our attention, and we're trying to do that collectively in the best way that we can. And unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, right? It's a double-sided coin. The way the Open Meetings Act is structured is I can't just call all 5 of the council members and say, this is what's going on, can we talk about it, can we come up with a solution? We have to do that here in this type of setting. So we really value that input that you have, and we appreciate the willingness to want to work toward a solution. I think one of the challenges that at least comes to my mind is how do we contain food waste inside of a container where it doesn't become exposed to other things, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Is there a way that we can collectively kind of approach that?
Well, I think that's where your code enforcement comes. I guess the way it was presented to us is that you're gonna discontinue the 1st of August. It's a very difficult time. And I guess that was the other disheartening part of it, is I feel like this discussion probably should have been done a little earlier. And I don't want you to take a negative light. I respect everything you guys do. You guys obviously have quite a bit that you take on in a growing town, and there's endless problems, right? And little challenges, right? Better word to use. So we're just here really to kind of help find a solution, but we really hope you consider the fact that that service is pretty vital to those 5 businesses there, because we do not have an imprint to put a dumpster anywhere close. And you're talking about like the coffee shop they hire. I mean, most of their staff is probably 16, 17, 18-year-old, teenagers to carry trash 100 yards, then do it at night. I mean, some of us have kids. I don't want my child to have, you know what it is. You know how that parking lot is late at night, especially in the summer, at the height of our business. I don't want them having to carry that. And then what do they do with the trash then? Can't leave it inside their store. And we try to do our due diligence, and get the pest control and try to consider all the things that food and waste brings, to the local neighborhood. And then there's other things like we're growing the farmer's market too. So it's not really just us that is contributing to that trash, and I know that Ivy's trying to help with that. So there's solutions there. We just like you to reconsider that. August 1st, I feel it lacks a little bit of consideration for where we're at in the season and what the business's challenges and how important the summer is to our operation. So if we could at least consider, let's go to the fall, which is even tough too. And I understand that, but the summer is very difficult, especially with the conditions that we're asking our staff to work in, So 100 yards in 100-degree heat for a 16-year-old boy or girl, that's a difficult ask, So as an operator, there's always challenges, similar to as you face. So we're just trying to do what's best for us, and obviously we're going to consider what's best for the town. We'll do our part to make sure that our staff, uses the receptacles that it's contained in the receptacles, and we'll try to find alternatives to get the trash to the dumpsters that we have. We've already looked into getting a larger dumpster, and we priced it out. That's something I shared with the other business owners. So we're doing our part. The time frame is tough right now, and we'd like just some consideration to maybe say, can we at least continue the service for a little longer so we can have some more productive conversation? and find, you know, a bridge here so everyone ends up being happy about the situation, how we move forward.
So, thank you. And in this report, it didn't say, I don't see anything about starting August 1st. But regardless, I don't, it's a discussion item, so I don't want to make a motion, but a suggestion would be that, has this been discussed at the merchant meetings?
At the what?
At the merchant meetings? Well, if not, I would.
Well, we did have a discussion a year ago when we were taking the 6 yards and the 4 yard dumpsters away. We did go to the meeting and said, and one of the reasons why we did, just to refresh your memory, a lot of the dumpsters were falling apart, they were rusting.
Are those ours? Were they ours?
They were
Okay.
ours, and we would have to be purchasing new. Plus, we were only down to like 4, I think we were down to 2 4 yarders and like 4 6 yarders. So it was a very minimum that we were doing that.
Higher than the.
So tell me the truth, how many, I don't need to know the specific ones, but how many restaurants are we providing this service for right now?
I would say we're only providing to like 6 restaurants. And some of them aren't even restaurants, coffee shop maybe,
Yeah.
juice place. So I'm just kind of lumping
Okay,
them into that.
let me look. How many establishments that have food?
I would say
or
we're
food
6 or
waste?
7.
Six or seven total.
Some of them have like a common connector, right? Like landlord and stuff like that. Why don't we ask all of you to kind of put your heads together, knowing the challenge that we face? You have the email correspondence. Why don't you all put your heads together and maybe come to us with what you think a good solution could be to address some of those challenges? And if you don't mind reporting out, you do this every day, right? Like this is your wheelhouse more than it is ours. We're just trying to mainly keep like public health and safety in the forefront, and then also as much efficiency as we can optimize, the better. But if you all can kind of think that through together and then come to us and let us know what you think, that could go a long way, I think. You all agree?
Yeah, a follow-up question too. Don't the apartment, the residential, don't they use those wheelies as well?
Residential use, like similar to a household. Where we're trying to really like focus in on is more food waste.
No, I get it. I just wondered, I'm just trying to get to the bottom of if that is all being used by the businesses or if it's residential as well.
I can speak to that. The apartments have their own cans.
Oh,
In our building, the apartments have their own cans.
Are they all in the same location? The restaurants?
The
and
restaurants are against the white wall that is the Captain Slice.
Yeah.
The apartments are back against a further back wall, but in that same space.
Yeah.
But there's designations,
Everybody,
they're marked.
all of them go to the curb, just like the rest of our street.
And the dumpster that you said that you were using, that you have a dumpster now that you use, correct, behind the dentist office?
Yeah, we use a private company for that dumpster.
Is that only for 410?
And Bill out in the lights. We
Okay.
split that cost with him.
You split it, okay. And it's one of the smaller ones, and then
4 yard.
perhaps getting.
And what do you take for that dumpster? Like, is that one separate from the what?
Yeah, we try to get the kitchen staff to take that because heavier things and, you know, usually bigger guys.
Got it.
Let the front of house girls take to the closer.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, if you could report that out to us, we would love to hear that information, especially from you all that do this on a regular basis. Like understanding what our main concerns, health and safety, handling of food waste properly, and then like efficiency if we can.
So just to echo Mayor, if you don't mind, when you say report to us, whom should they?
A public meeting, I think.
Oh.
That way we all get the same information. I think it's probably the best way to handle that.
We can coordinate,
Okay.
try to get a date to look at.
Is that okay? Do you feel comfortable with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
So I think the August 1st thing is that, yeah, like Jackson, we didn't know that was the plan. I mean, could we be flexible on that?
There's no action that's gonna be taken right this month.
Yeah, right now.
It would just like some expediency, right? Like, so let's not revisit this in September. Let's try to revisit this hopefully by July some point, that we can maybe get some consensus back here. And then right now, that's on.
Oh, okay. That's all. I think it's what you're basically hoping for, right?
Yeah, the idea is to get a larger receptacle by the dentist's office. We'd have to obviously speak with them, but the imprint in terms of dynamic, it'd just be taller, right?
But please know that I'm not saying it's a 410 problem. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like collectively, like those restaurants
With all the
and stuff.
businesses.
Yeah.
I absolutely understand.
I don't want anybody to think that we're singling out 410 by any means.
I don't take it that way.
Mayor, do you want to give them a date to plan to come back?
We meet the second and the fourth meeting, or the second Monday and the fourth Monday in July.
So that would be the
let us-
13th and 27th.
You don't have to commit right now, but just put one of those on your calendar that you think could work. And if you need some flexibility, we can certainly work with that.
Okay.
All right? Okay, council feel good? Good. All right. Anything else from the public? Okay, let's move on to item 7, and that's departmental reports. And PJM report with Alan. You have quite the obstacle. Thank you all, we appreciate it.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am required by law to read the Town of Berlin quarterly report of PJM activities in the third quarter FY 2026, January through March. The total energy sold was 15,064,263. The AMP bill was $1,025,115. PJM charges were $365,256. The PJM ARR credit was $78,494. The fuel, lube, and other costs were $69,767. The total power cost is $1,381,645, and the cost per kWh sold was 0.09172 cents.
Thank you. See you again in 3 months. Tim will be very proud of you. Great job, Alan. All right. Any questions for Alan regarding the quarterly PJM report that we have as the third quarter FY 26 report?
No question.
What's that? Yeah.
No question, but Alan, I'm telling you, I closed my eyes for 35 seconds, and you sound almost identical, with just a little bit of twitch in the dialect. You sound pretty close to Tim when you gave that.
Good job. All right, let's move on. Alan, you did a great job. Thank you. All right, let's move on to the town administrator's report and departmentals. Mary, anything you want to add to the departmentals?
Just very quickly, a reminder that the town offices are closed Friday, June 19th for Juneteenth. And other than that, I'm going to turn it over to Chief of Police.
Perfect. Here, Alan.
Just giving a similar report as to the Capitol Red our power consumption. The Capitol Red Speed Cameras account. As of this quarter, we purchased 2 vehicles, which are Tahoes, at the cost of $57,405 a piece, totaling $114,810. To outfit those, to include the marking, that would be radio, lights, all the equipment that has to come with it. It's $23,270 a piece, roughly. That does adjust sometimes as we move forward. $46,557 totaling both vehicles at $161,367. Additional to that, Captain Fisher's purchased 19 Dell computers to replace the current ones that we do have. The total of $19,779. That leaves the capital remaining for the Red Speed cameras at $19,355.20. In consideration of the budget of what we've discussed, we looking at considering estimates of about $49,000 after you add the May and June increments into or from the Red Speed cameras. And from that, we should be drawing about $42,500 for the Axon cameras that we're looking at purchasing.
Any questions for Howard?
Hey, what do you guys do with your outdated instruments? Do you guys take them, like, you get the new ones and they take them back? I'm just curious, with it being police info, I don't know what happens.
The ones we're replacing are the ones we bought in 2018 when we moved into the building. So probably for the first month, they're gonna sit in my office. So people that realize they forgot to transfer something or get something, I can hook it up to something.
Yeah.
But after that, we have federal law telling us we have to disable the hard drive. We have to
That's what I was
close
wondering,
it.
I didn't know what the process
We
was,
have to
or
destroy
something like that.
So our IT provider does not cover the police department?
Didn't, but it will be,
starting in the new budget year.
Nice.
starting FY '27. And that, a lot of that is because, now, the cost is not going down by any means, the cost will go up. However, what the challenge is, if everybody remembers the time that we had with Bulletproof and doing all the required state security stuff and making sure that we have the redundancies in place, it does put us in compliance with that, but it does come at a more steep cost.
I remember working with them in the private sector, they would phase it out over 3 to 5 years of, you do a massive infrastructure upgrade, spread it out, that's why I was just curious.
All right, anything else regarding departmentals or anything from Howard or Alan?
Oh, I have a question.
Well, that's fine, it's in departmental.
So Ryan, this is for planning. In your report here, I think I might have asked before, but I just want to re-verify. What is stormwater research? Please.
We have been getting some concerns from the public about certain areas that may be over the allowance before a stormwater review is triggered. So we've been doing some research on that.
Okay. Thanks.
That was it. May I ask now before I forget?
It's not
Here,
big.
here, pay it back to me nicely.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You were just like this.
Councilmember Nichols, I just still like to tell everyone it's nice.
I'm sorry, friends, we're just getting, yeah, but anyway, I have to ask, Chief, so this question has been brought to me a couple times, and I thought today I'd remember to ask you. So you know we have the speed cameras throughout, and 12 point, whatever the point is, the tenths of is, and then the citation comes through. Now, the question now is, yes, the 12 point blank, and then there's a citation. And the citation is the same regardless of how fast you're going beyond the 12 point. That's the question that was asked. Yes, that was I couldn't recall what that looks like, and the exact, you know what I mean? Because it was brought to me a couple times in the last week, and I was like, I believe that there is a change, but I wasn't certain on the exacts.
If you think of it, send Councilmember Morris that ordinance where those fines were adjusted. I should send it to the group.
Sure. It was like last October, I think they changed it, it's
Yeah.
tiered now.
And we had to adopt the state law.
Right.
That's what I couldn't recall. the
We did
exact-
not change the law.
No, we adopted.
But I do have a secret. If you don't speed, you don't get a
That is
ticket.
very true.
Don't tell anybody, because it might catch on, but if you don't speed, you
Well,
don't
that's
get a
why I
ticket.
say that is one form of revenue that we would like to go away.
Correct, but it doesn't.
No.
Okay, any other comments or questions regarding departmentals? Okay, let's move on to comments from the public. Anyone from the public that would like to address the mayor and council? Just name and street name, please, and can you speak loudly?
Yeah.
Can you speak loudly?
Yeah. Mary Hedlesky, Westminster Drive. I just have a concern about these stormwater ditches, and while I appreciate what you're saying about offering help to people who need it, and as you all know, for over 10 years I've been hollering about stormwater and ditches and the ponds and how all this is connected. I think that's really a dangerous precedent that you guys are setting, just because of some ditches have already been worked on by the town. There has been things done in the past where, and Brian, this is not directed towards you, and I appreciate everything you guys have done, but where we've got sheds, we've got swimming pools, rose gardens, cinder blocks, anything and everything in the world has been permitted into these swales. We've also got where residents have been given permits to fill in those swales. And so before we sit there and start saying that we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna spend, it's not the money to spend the money to start to clean these ditches out. It's gotta go back to the very beginning. It's gotta go back to clearing the ditches so that the water actually flows from past damages of things that have been allowed to happen. And it, you know, as I said, while I'm all in favor of whatever it takes to get this water flowing and get it out of my backyard, I just don't think that just saying we're gonna go ahead and start cleaning these ditches without going back and starting from the very beginning is gonna fix anything. But that's just my opinion, and honestly, I've dealt with the Maryland Department of the Environment, Worcester County Environment, numerous conversations with Darrell and Stephen and Coastal Bays and everybody and their brother, and we've got a much bigger problem than just saying we're gonna start cleaning out these ditches in order to fix this problem. So I just wanted, sorry, I had to say that.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Anyone else from the public that would like to address the mayor and council? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to comments from the council. We'll start with Vice President Burrell. Oh, he said.
During our conversation, you made mention of things that have been already prepared related to ditch maintenance. Could those documents be released again, and could I get them tomorrow?
That shouldn't be a problem at all. Mary, can you work with you guys and
I'm not sure
so
exactly what you're referring to.
we need the stuff that Megan prepared for the stormwater.
Okay.
We need the cost of the capital equipment and the cost of the personnel to be able to handle like ditch maintenance, the motion that was out.
And that goes to everything.
Yep, it'll go to everybody. Thank you. Councilmember Nichols? I didn't, hey, for the record, I have never signed it. I'm just saying.
I don't have anything really to say. I just will say this part. Weather is weather and we can't control it, but I will say I love the stick-to-itiveness of the community that was planning for the Memorial Day celebration. All of those vendors still vended and still did their thing and still sold their wares even though the parade was canceled. So kudos to those folks. And again, for anybody that thinks that it was the town of Berlin that canceled the parade, we did not cancel the parade. It was outside of us, and we were just those folks who thought that it would be kind if we would share that word with all of everybody out there in viewerland. But we were not the people who canceled that event. But I'm glad to see that everyone did come out and support all of the vendors. Huge success for all of those folks.
Thank you. Councilmember Orris, and then Bree.
Alright, so I got this, I don't know if it's gonna work, how does it sound? Oh, a robot, okay.
What is it?
It was something on Amazon, $20.
You bought it from here?
Yeah, but I don't know if this is the.
Try it.
How's it sound out there?
We don't hear it.
Yeah, $20 down the drain.
But turn it.
Okay, well, anyway, I tried. I could get the $40 one, but no, that's, anyway. Yeah, hey, don't knock the 80s, man. They were some good times. Okay, so just some comments here I have. This is for everybody, you know, just a friendly reminder about leashes for dogs, and you know, in our public spaces and cleaning up. Whoever it is doing the social media designs and stuff, kudos to you because they are great that they're coming out. And they're very informative and helpful. So just a reminder for everybody out there listening about the leashes for dogs. And I did have a question about just the reasoning behind some of the agendas not including the full packet for boards, councils, and commissions. Boards, committees, and commissions. Is there just a reason?
There have been one developer in particular, but I believe, we don't have any way of knowing this from others. They are picking up information off of our website and sending fraudulent invoices. And so in an effort to try to eliminate that possibility, we have eliminated that information. It is available upon request. We're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. We don't want these developers getting invoices that, at a glance, we've all seen what fraudulent emails look like. At a glance, they look legitimate. I have a feeling there are probably particularly larger developers with bigger companies who have paid some of these invoices. So,
Can I ask that too? The information that's included in the board and commission's package, we did also try redacting information specifically on the applications that are included in the meeting packets, but it's particularly for the planning commission meetings. They're oftentimes fairly significant packets with site plans and additional material that's included in the packet. So even if we redact the information on the application, there's still material that's provided by the applicant or the developer in some cases where it's on the material that they provide us to. So it's really, really hard to redact every little thing that we think might be used in a fraudulent invoice within a 100-page packet.
it was creating a lot of work for staff to try to redact all that information.
Okay, that does make sense. I was just.
It's unfortunate,
Yeah.
But it's what we have to do.
Right. I was also Jimmy/Jamie. I was wondering if we could reach out to State Highway. Some of the stormwater drains on Broad Street are clogged or clogging. If we could just have them check out. The one that I noticed that was really clogged was the one across from Berlin Beer Company. But if they could just check them out, that'd be great. Appreciate it. Thank you. And I have just two more things. This is the second. In regards, the town hall renovation seems to be going very well. Am I correct in that? It seems to be quick.
I've been very impressed by the company.
Okay. So I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, and this again is not anything in particular to anyone directly, but in terms of furniture that we're going to have to get at the end of this, I was wondering if it's not already happening, and I don't think we need it, but I think it might be helpful if we can kind of start getting the inventory now of what we have, and then we can start getting together. This is admin leadership, an ask from me to admin leadership, to get that inventory together to see what we might need and plan accordingly. Is that happening?
We're going to need, the haves are very, very low.
Yeah, that's okay.
The needs are very, very high. You have to outfit the building. So that is being worked through. Once it's in the state that it's ready, as soon as that is there, we're going to bring it here for consideration.
All right. I think that would just be helpful. Okay, so that's that. And then I just finally, because it's getting like 8:30, it's getting bedtime. Just wanted to say thank you again to the department heads. I love seeing all of you here for the budget and working together and getting through it. Like I said last meeting, the budget is a roller coaster sometimes. So just wanted to thank all of you individually, and I appreciate it. We appreciate it, but I have the mic, so I appreciate it.
Great. Just one quick thing. Back in March, we had our work session with the Berlin Fire Company, and I'm trying to remember, but we reached a consensus on I guess it was I was looking at my notes here, property tax credit for our responders who've been over 5 years of service, right? And I remember during the conversation, we were not going to, I didn't think we were going to put it in the budget because we were going to look at it as a mid-year. I just wanted, Mayor, maybe you could just recap what we were going to do. That's all I have tonight. I just wanted.
Typically, they run the reports at the top of the year for tax time, so that's when we were going to try and consider that. The other thing is that in the discussion, the goal has really been recruitment and retention. During the discussion, I said, look, because there was a wait for like a period of time before it kicked in, and I said, how many people would have at least like 1 year of service, right? The idea is to capture folks early, not make them wait a prolonged period of time before they see the benefit. And I think one of the most, and I hope we should be able to address it in September when we meet, but one of the interesting things that I found from the information we got was that out of all the people that would qualify, the only new people that would be affected by starting this early for the recruitment side, I think it was like 1 or 2. So the question that I'm gonna have in September is, how do we look at this a little differently, right? Because I really don't know if you're gonna change the game of somebody that has been, I think it was like a basket of almost 20 people, right? Yeah, so let's just use a round number of 20. And if you're looking at that and only 2 of them are on the new side, how much of this is recruitment and retention, right? Versus things that might already exist through like the state income tax credits and stuff like that. How do we attract the challenge that we hear when they come to us is often we can't get volunteers. Volunteerism is down. So how do we get people in the door? That's what I want to know. And how do we stack something that really helps on that side versus, I certainly appreciate the years of service. I understand it. I know the life that it takes. My family has volunteered through the Berlin Fire Company for 3+ decades, right? So I understand what service looks like there. What I'm wondering is how do you get people in the door that are new, right? Because that's really what you need. So that's the question that I'm gonna have to ask when that time comes, but we haven't lost sight of one of the potential solutions.
But when we do that, Mayor, we're not going to, I know we mentioned it when we were at the fire department,
And I know that it's something that we were talking about, retention and recruitment for those friends, but this will also include police and other first responding folks as well.
That's what I recommended when we all met together. I said, let's not draw the line at just fire, right, and EMS. Let's extend that to the public safety side of things in a whole, right? So, what's that? Yeah, I mean, so public safety as a whole, right? So like, what does that look like? And then, but really on the volunteer side of things, which is where I think we really need to like hone ourselves in, is how do we get volunteers in? Because what we hear from the fire company is training time, right? Time away from the family. All those things are causing volunteerism to be down. How do we combat that together and really make whatever dollars we can inject count, is what I'm at. So, all right, anything else from comments from the council?
Yes.
We'll move on.
Just one more thing. Shanika brought up, the multi-purpose. And that,
Still not on?
and that, that site, I just want the public to know some things. First, let me say that the multi-purpose building itself has been removed. And that removal was initiated and made possible by a grant to the town. During this grant season or implementation, Shore Up came to the town and said, if you want to take the classrooms down now, that's a possibility because we're not gonna be using them. So we changed the grant to include those classrooms. And they're coming down now. And it is incumbent upon the public to know that that space, that lot is operated by the town of Berlin. It is no longer a private lot operated by BCIA. It is part of the town's inventory of available space. And I want the public to realize that those lots will be vacant a while with the plan of having a community center on that site.
We will build.
We will build it, but it will not be tomorrow. or the next day, or possibly the next year. But it will be built. So I want the public to go forward.
It will be built.
It will be built. But I want the public to realize just what the plan is and just how it will evolve.
Thank you. And thank you to Sarah and everybody that worked on the grant to be able to make it so that we can get that project moving forward. I will say that being out there with the folks that are working to tear down the buildings, one, the multi-purpose building, we know that that has been a vital part of our community for a long time. Hosted dances, birthday parties, celebrations of all kinds. What I will say is that in being out there with the folks that are working to tear that down, they were surprised at how soft the metal was. Somebody needs to get up and jump around and move. But what's that? Yeah, they're telling us we gotta loosen. Can somebody really get up and walk around quick? So, yep, it's motion sensitive. So then, yeah, a little dance party. But what I'm trying to say is that the infrastructure of that building, do we need, hold on, we'll wait
Go
for
over by
everybody.
the door, I think that's where the sensors are.
All right, well, I'm still gonna talk in the dark for a second, because I think it's important, and it really goes with what Vice President Burrell was saying, and I'm sure what people are thinking in the community. But when you're out there and you're hearing the people that are tearing it down saying that metal came down a little too easy, right? That's a scary thing to hear, right? That building was beyond a point of repair. And then to see the amount of dangerous substances, asbestos, lead, things like that, that have come off of the buildings that were shore up classrooms and office spaces, that's dangerous too, right? So what we want is really to move full speed ahead at trying to build out the community center that we want with a state-of-the-art Head Start classrooms and office spaces that are safe for our children and that live up to the 21st century needs of now and into the future. So Sarah, thank you to the work that you've done, Jamie, Jimmy, Bennett Construction, right? Everybody that's worked on this project throughout DVF, what is it, A&E?
Ames.
What?
Ames.
Ames, there you are, thank you.
And there's a few other subcontractors.
Yeah, so
as
like
well.
everybody that's worked together on this project to help get us to a point where we're shovel ready, right? And that's what we're really moving forward with. So anything else that you want to add from the mayor's office?
Well, I was just gonna say that it's an important point to note that there are so many phases in pre-construction and that we do have funding for the next phase of pre-construction. So we have $1.4 million of earmark funds that we're getting from the USDA that should be obligated this summer and maybe by the early fall so that we can start the pre-construction, and that amount will cover all of the design and site work and plans and everything we need to do to be able to be shovel ready, which will be at least a year from now, if not more.
But I mean, that gets us to a point where we can legitimately, funding still needed, but we can build a building.
May I hold this way? I'm not gonna keep up. This is my last thought and comment on this, since we are in this area, because there are a lot of social media warriors out there. There are a lot of conversations that happen at coffee shops, at corner stores, and all the things. And then there are people who come to town who haven't been to town in a minute, and everybody has comments and statements. So hear me loud and proud, folks out there in TV land and all over the world. And if you're writing this, put this on social media too. What I would suggest and recommend that we do as a town for those folks who are coming, because everybody comes home. When I say home, they come back to the neighborhood during the summertime. And then a lot of people will be back again for Labor Day. I would like to see, and I'm not asking that we spend a great deal of money, but I'd like for us to put something out.
We have a QR code on the
No, that's not what I need. Hear me with this part. I'd like for there to be, even if it's just this is what we've done with photos out there.
We want to.
Yeah, but can I say it out loud so they hear it?
But if you have something in mind, just know that collaborate with Sarah and we can get that.
Give me till next Tuesday. Let school close on the 16th, and you and I can work on this so that it's out there. But But let me get the thought out, man, so we can go home. But what I'd like to see here is something out there, literally a billboard or something out on the site, because so many people drive by and they stop, and then they're on the sites, and then they're calling, and their aunts are calling, and the neighbors are stopping and saying, what have you done to my neighborhood? So this is what it was, this is what has happened, and this is what is next. You know what I mean? So they can see a gradual timeline as they stop and slow down. And I don't mind people knocking on my door, just don't come knocking after 8:30. But I don't mind them knocking because they do, and they say, what have you done? How dare you? Look at my neighborhood. I don't want people to think that. I need for them to hear and understand and see, because they stop, they look, and they call. Not just me, but each other. So, you know, we can put something
Until
on.
next Tuesday, I could just say that we have a QR code scannable on the future home of the Berlin Community Center sign that is right there front and center. All you need to do is scan it. It takes you directly to the community center page on the website that has our feasibility study, a timeline, and a plan of everything and all the funding sources that we've been using.
But maybe what we can do is just like maybe do a little update, and then if you can come up with like some of the stuff you want to see, like we can
Just add
collaborate.
it to the page that's
Well,
already
but
there.
then what we can also do is like, if we can collaborate on that a little bit, we'll come up with something, and Natalie has the ability for us to send that. We can do like a little mailer to folks. That way it gets it in everybody's house as well. Not that expensive, and it'll do the trick. You agree?
No, I agree. I'm hearing what you're saying.
I mean, we're just.
No, I love the
Tabletop.
idea. I'm hearing what you're saying. Yeah.
All right, so, in addition to that, fireman's parade's up and coming. I think we got some Juneteenth celebrations coming, farmers markets, rocking and rolling. I do want to thank, oh man, where was I going with this? I thanked you two already for the construction stuff and the demolition and all that stuff that's going on. I think that's it. Let's see, any comments from the press? Anything I'm forgetting? No? Okay. Comments from the press? None? Okay. Got a motion by Vice President Burrell, second by Councilman Nichols. Yes, that's what it was. It is now business casual until Labor Day.